What up, everybody? How y'all doing?
Oh.
Hello. My special co-host, AC, is here with us tonight. He's going to help me out a little bit. Hopefully everybody's
always fun to help you out a little bit.
Yeah, I appreciate you. Will Spirit's in the house. How are you doing tonight, sweetie? Woo woo. Unknown is in the house. Stay out of them high-speed chases, Unknown. You know what it is. AC's in the house. Gap Toots and Elizabeth's in the house. So I feel so funny. I know it's her handler, like her YouTube handler name, but I'm just like, I always think it's people. Hey, listen, people come up with some really interesting, and I've seen some really cool and interesting different names. So it keeps it. Oh, Hannah's in the house. What's up? How's everybody doing? Hopefully you guys have had a great day. Hopefully you guys have done something positive, done something to love yourself. It's the weekend. Weekend should be about self-care. So hopefully you all did that. I did that. I went over to my friend's chat last night, and we were online till, I don't know, like 4 something this morning, 5 o'clock this morning or something. I don't even know.
Yeah, I go to bed. I will say this now. I go to bed. I wake up about 3 o'clock. I turn on YouTube. Michelle's still going. You got Miss Summer up there with her, and they're talking about the documentary Candace Owen does. I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah, that was a journey. But it was good. It was a good panel. It was a good discussion. It was you know what I mean? So sorry, y'all. I was making sure we're good to go. What's up, Gap Tooth girl? So yeah, so it was a good night. Like, you know, like I said, I hung out with some friends I haven't seen in a while. What's up, Missy? How are you doing? Beautiful. And so I always love seeing all my friends and all my YouTube peeps, and so it was good. But because we were up late, I didn't wake up till like 3, I think maybe 2:30, 3 o'clock. Something. I was like, it was a good panel, Missy, wasn't it? It was, you know, let me tell you something. It's really hard to have hard conversations, especially everybody has their own belief systems, and I'm not ever here to change the way anybody believes, right? Neither is AC, neither is Missy, or any of us, at least I would hope, right? And we don't do echo chambers. And what I love is I have friends from all different backgrounds, and you know, everybody knows that where I stand and how I feel, and I know where they stand and where they feel. And I think somewhere in America we're forgetting to talk to each other, and we're just so mad at each other. All we want to do is yell at each other, right? And so it was nice and refreshing to have a hard conversation, even with things that maybe people, you know, agree and some people disagree. And maybe even conversations got passionate, because we all know when I'm around, I'm fucking a hot mess. But it was really good, and it was refreshing to have difficult conversations with friends that I trust. And so none of us judge each other. None of us, you know, gonna walk away from the table mad. Even if it got a little heated, we were still like, you know, we're, you know, just thankful that we can have a hard conversation about some things. And that's the only way we're gonna get anywhere in life, you know, because when we work off our emotions and we let media and all this other different entities, you know, mess with us, they will definitely try to divide us. And that's what we're doing. And the only way we're going to recover is if we have hard conversations. Because I've learned things from AC, and AC's talked about this before, just us having conversations and being able to see it from different perspectives, it gives us a better understanding of things. And so I appreciate that. So yeah, last night was good. Anytime I get to hang out with my brother and all my friends, great night. So Yeah,
because
exactly,
I
Missy.
don't,
Very true. Go ahead.
and I do not want to be in an echo chamber. That's not what I signed up for
Echo
YouTube to
chamber.
be in. Yes, I stream to Odyssey and Facebook and Rumble and all of those places. I do not want to be in an echo chamber. That's why I'm still here on YouTube. If I wanted an echo chamber, I could go over to Rumble and just stream there.
That's right. Dom's in the house. How you doing? Missy's in the house. Callie's in the house. Katrina's in the house. So tonight's show is going to
Katrina's
be really good.
always
Go
Katrina's
ahead.
always here, for crying out loud.
Hey, my girls never leave me hanging.
I I might not say anything from time to time, but I do watch. I
Yes,
do
you do,
just
and I
watch.
know you're there. You know what I mean, and that's what's great, right? We support each other, and even when we can't, we don't. You know, it's all good. So, but tonight is going to be a good show. So I am big, as you know, of course. If you don't know by now, I am a human trafficking survivor of a lot of shit, right? And so when I talk about and I teach about things, it's always from my perspective. It's, you know, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not, you know, it's educational entertainment purposes only. Let's get that homework out the way. But when I do, if I ever, like, say I'm talking about a topic, even if it's trafficking, especially if it's trafficking, I want to show documentaries and I want to show stuff that survivors are doing things, because I think that's very important. It's very hard for a survivor to step out of everything that they've been through, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
come and help other people, because you have survivor's guilt, you have secondhand trauma, you have just a sorts of things, and you have your own stuff. So it's very hard. It's very hard. So when people do it, I think it's dope and I think it's beautiful. And we talk about all the different cities and different things that different cities are doing. And Columbus is it's rough. You know what I mean? It has a very high population of trafficking, and actually a lot of, like, when you get to talk, and for all my truck drivers out there, you know, the different corridors like 65 and, you know, just these different places that travel all through the United States. And so, like, Ohio, Kentucky, all these, you know, all these little different areas, because of the expressway, people are like able to move back and forth, and city to city and shit like that. But and so you have in some cities certain times, like football games or any kind of sport games, big conventions. The Farmer Machinery Show was huge here in Kentucky. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
trafficking. Derby, a lot of trafficking. And so, but then you have the stuff that goes on no matter what's going on in town. And so one thing that I'm very proud of Columbus, I've been able to go up and stand with some survivor sisters of mine, for different things, to support them during conferences they did, to go up and speak, to go out and do street work, outreach work with them. Um, a sister of mine, Jennifer Kempton, really big in the human trafficking world before she passed, and even still, her legacy lives on for so many, to help so many, even though she's not here anymore. And so I came across, I was sitting there doing, and there's not much on any of these sites that I haven't seen as far as it comes to trafficking documentaries and all that, right? But I came across one, and I had watched it a long time ago, but I guess I just kind of forgot about it. And when I watched it, it caught me off guard because it had some of my amazing survivor sisters in it, including, they talked about Jennifer. And so it kind of threw me a little bit for a loop, because I guess with my memory and everything, I just forgot it, and it caught me off guard. So I said, oh yeah, I definitely want to show this. I want to show what Columbus is doing right, because we can talk about all day long of the things that are not being done right.
Mm-hmm.
But we need to talk about the things that are going good. And so between survivor advocates up there, which is kicking ass and taking names later, between you know, tattoo artists understanding, like, so branding happens a lot in human trafficking, and so when you have tattoo artists that work with survivors and help, and Jennifer Kempton did that. She invented uh, um, Survivors Inc. Sorry, I was looking at the comments. I gotta stop that. Here, let me do that. And so and so it'll talk about that a little bit in this documentary that we're going to show. It shows Holly is an amazing chick and the amazing work that she does. And then also it'll talk about in the courtroom aspect of things, right? Because what happens a lot within human trafficking or prostitution or the adult industry, period. Sometimes women or victims get arrested and it can create a debt bondage, which they end up staying in it. Like, because if you got to pay a fine and you got to pay some lawyers and you got to do all this shit, it just makes it hard for you to exit things. And so I really appreciate the program that they have. And I really like to see a lot of courts take up with that, because it's like almost like a re-entry type of thing. And so definitely want to show that because I think it's good. And so I need help. What do you need help with, sweetie? What do you need? Okay. Katrina's got that. Cool. So I thought we would watch this together. Then if we could talk about it a little bit afterwards. And then that'll be our show. You're stuck. I ran from a really awful situation. I'm stuck with no money, nowhere to go in LA. So what I would do, because you're in LA, you can always email me and I can try to get you some resources that are out there. And there's my email. So you're more than welcome to email me if you'd like. There's not really a whole lot I can do, over the thing right now. But if you email me, then I can possibly help you get some resources and get you to maybe somebody that can help. And so if you do that, I would love to at least be able to try to help. I can't make any promises, but I know people out in that area. And so there might be some advocates and some help out that way. So you're welcome, sweetie. So yeah, just email me and I'll see what I can do. And then I'll be able to see what you need specifically, right? Like if you need housing, if you need money, if you need food, whatever it is you need. And so, yeah, email me and we'll see what we can do. All righty. I'm glad that I don't know how you found me, but I'm glad that you came here and tried to get some help. So tonight,
I'm gonna say this before you actually talk about this documentary. This is what I love about you. You don't even know the person. They said they needed help, and this is why a lot of people that I know of have fell in love with you, because you're willing to do what you can, even for someone you don't even know. So,
well, I mean,
if you guys want to, please help her support this, because she makes a lot of things happen, even where she's not. So she does great work. So please bless her by giving her a donation, because she's putting the effort in to try to help somebody, as you can tell already. So that's why I was sitting here smiling. I love that you stopped and you was trying to help somebody. That's the spirit. That's the person I fell in love with when I first came over here. So thank you for reaffirming that you are the person that I think you are. So thank you.
Yeah, I'm me, you know what I mean? And it's something that we all should be able to do, because, and honestly, if somebody ever comes to you and somebody's ever like, hey, and you don't know the person or whatever, you can ask them like, what state and city are you in? Right. And then you can do stuff like, a simple Google search, maybe where a local shelter is, maybe where a local food pantry is, or a food kitchen if they need something to eat. And then you can look up if say it's trafficking, say it's domestic violence, say it's, whatever it is. And it's literally an easy Google search, because, you know what I mean? So, and then you can, and I'm used to being able to network, well, in the United States, because in the human trafficking movement, we have kind of like, it's almost like the Underground Railroad type of aspect, right? And so we can really, truly get some shit done. Like, we've had victims that needed to get out of situations, and we partner with different organizations that partner with different airplane places, airlines or whatever. And there's been, you have to have ID, you have to have all this stuff. But when you're working and you're doing the right things, and there's really a victim that needs to help and be moved, we get the shit done. You know what I mean? So, and it is, Lori, it's definitely getting big in every state. It's definitely, and the reason is because, and this is honestly, I think, because a lot of people, there's domestic trafficking, and then there's, you know, over and across seas or whatever, right? And it's different. And there's so many different forms of trafficking. There's familial trafficking, which familial trafficking is like when your family and stuff traffics you. There's just so many pimp control trafficking. There's just so many different types. And so that's why I like to, and I can tell people my story and I can tell people like what I do and how I help, but I love, and especially when it's other survivors that are doing the work. And that's why we're watching this video tonight, because it's not about me. It's not about what Summer Dickerson can do. It's about what all of us can do. And it's about what warriors that survive things, we are unstoppable. There's nothing that we can't do when we put our pride away and we dig our feet in, you know? And so that is something that I've learned over the years. And no matter how hard it gets, and it's really stressful at times, you know what I mean? But again, the work's not for one person. The work's for a lot of people. And so I like featuring different things people are doing. And what they're doing in Columbus is really helping people. And there might be something that you guys see, or maybe you hear me say, or whatever, and you can go to the people in your city and you can go and say, hey, there's a problem. I mean, you may not see it, but there's a problem. You know what I mean? So give me a second. We're doing a show. Every state I visit, they say it's the epicenter of trafficking. How to help it is very overwhelming, and it can be, you know, you got to learn where you're most effective at. You got to learn what your gifts are, you know, because we all want to do things, right? And sometimes we'll jump into things and we'll try to do 500 billion things, and it's just not what we're good at. So some people are good at making lunches. Some people are good at going to a shelter and organizing, you know, because sometimes people will be like, well, Summer, I want to come out with you and help. And I'm like, okay, that's cool, you know, but this is where I need help today. I need help organizing my closets. I need help organizing some paperwork. I need help. And they get frustrated, but you may be good at that kind of stuff. And people don't understand, especially in survivor-led organizations, dude, that is so effective. It's so. Go ahead.
And Max has a great question. What happens to people who are trafficked?
Well, that's what we're talking about.
Max, it all actually all depends. Some people.
Well, what is the contents of that question? Actually, that's what a better question. Yeah. I'm going to answer the question with the question. What happens to people who are human trafficked? I mean, you've been hanging out with me, and I've been telling you my story, and other women in the chats has also told their story. So everybody's story is different. So I guess if you want me to answer that, you would have to further that question just a little bit, because everybody's story is different. Men, women, every nationality, every belief system, everything, you know. And some people live, some people die. Some people overcome and become amazing advocates. Oh yeah, and so there's human trafficking, there's labor trafficking, there's organ trafficking, and we have to understand what each one is, right? And so, I mean, I understand human trafficking in the form of sex trafficking, right? And so, but I've also seen a lot of situations, you know, here in Kentucky, there's a lot of different situations where labor trafficking is very big. It happens in restaurants, it happens on farms, it happens all kinds of different places, right? And then there's organ trafficking, and it's all these things are very real. And for a long time, I think people just thought, again, it's something that happens over there, or that happens in those big cities. When I can tell you, in our state, more trafficking happens in rural areas than it does anywhere else. That includes with the pimp control trafficking and everything. So, you know, it's, and that's like, you know, people will be like, well, Summer, isn't smuggling human trafficking? No, it's not. It can lead up to it. It can lead up to it. Kidnapping can lead up to it. But kidnapping is a different crime than, you know what I mean? So can these things all happen in the midst of human trafficking? Sure. Does it all happen down at the borders? No, it doesn't. It happens in your neighborhoods. It happens in your church. It happens in, you know, training program. It happens everywhere. It happens in the foster care system. It happens big in CPS, you know? And so it's just, I think in some ways, it's almost like people have made people think that it happens over there, or they want you to think it's I hate the white van theory. I'm just going to throw this out there. It drives me nuts. all of these like crazy rabbit hole conspiracy theories, right? And don't get me wrong, some shit's real, and that's where conspiracy theories, in my opinion, come from. Is it takes a little bit of some truth, and then it circles it with all kinds of different ways it could go. And I like a good conspiracy theory, just like the next one, right? But unfortunately, in the human trafficking movement, it has really, really crippled us, because people would rather believe that you can order a pizza and a child's going to show up than the person next door to them is familial trafficking the children in their house to pay rent or pay for drugs. And so that's what I need people to understand. And so, all right, so we're gonna. Okay. So they're talking about themselves. Awesome. So I think we're going to go ahead. If you're ready, we can, I'll pull it up here in a second, but we can play the video and we'll pause, in between and just talk about some things. But hopefully you guys like this. And like I said, it's an amazing video. I really, really, anytime, and I'll show non-survivors work as well, because all work is important. I don't want people, because I've had people come to me and be like, well, Summer, you talk about survivor-led stuff a lot. Do you like work with non-survivors? Yes, I do, because it takes all of us to get make a difference, right? But I will say, no one, and I mean no one, I don't care how many degrees you got, I don't care how cute your suit is and how fancy your office is, a non-survivor's education will never trump a survivor's education. And so as long as we all understand that, please don't ever argue with me about certain shit. Audio, okay. So we're gonna go ahead, I'm gonna pull this up and we're gonna start it. And like I said, I think it's a very, very powerful, pretty powerful. I'm going to mute my mic and go for it.
And I want to say this is from the BBC, so there might be some element. I have not seen this. You can tell me, is this all in the U.S. or is this around the world?
This is all in the United States. This is actually all taking place. It is a BBC story, but it is all taking place in Columbus, Ohio. Every single thing that's going on. And that's why I wanted to show it, because I want people to see. And again, this is for educational purposes, YouTube. It's
very, yeah.
I'm taking a chance on this, but it's worth a chance for me, because this is a really good video. This is something, I know a lot of people live in Ohio. I know a lot of people, and not only that, but people want to do the work, right? You want to see what's being done. And here's a city showing you from the streets to a tattoo shop to the courtroom, you know what I mean? They're showing how it gets done. And I can tell you that I know a lot of survivors that gave their lives to make the improvement that they have right now. And I know that this is real, because I personally know the women that are in this video. So, and my sister that's no longer here anymore with us. So, when I show stuff, I'm very, 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 very big. Our massage parlors, the places where traffic females. I mean, it can be, but it can be in your school. It can be in a church. It can be anywhere that you could think of.
I want to give Max an example, because I am an alumni of Ohio State. I am an alumni of Ohio State. So where this picture, the reason I asked her if this was all in the U.S. is because I know the spots of a lot of this. And I'm figuring I'm probably going to know the spots. All I'm going to say, at one point in time, I will be honest, I was an alcoholic and drug addict. I know women that have been put through this. Thank God they're out of it. Like Summer, and I know other people. But the thing about it, this happened. I actually got a girl when I was going to Ohio State out of this. Just saying, this is very real. This is everyday life for some women.
Yeah, and this isn't something that just happens over in a third world country. This isn't something that, you know what I mean? I'm certified paralegal in the state of Ohio and Kentucky. Both my sons are alumni. Oh, that's what's up. Refuse. Refuse to Lose. I like that name too. Shout out to some paralegals kicking ass, taking names, holler. And since you're in Ohio, you may recognize some of the things that we're talking about. It's in this video. And I mean, like, seriously, you guys, like, I wasn't, listen, you know how they say, I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. The other night, I was just pooping around and I'm like, I want to find a good documentary that's survivor led that and then when I was watching it, it just, I miss my sis. She did a lot of really good. Jennifer Kempton is an amazing warrior, and she did a lot of fucking work in Ohio and in this movement she's a game changer. And so in that place, game changers, let's play this video.
Let's do this.
Sex trafficking in the US. In popular imagination, women are forced across borders and held against their will.
They all have the same notion that sex trafficking looks like the movie Taken.
But a new picture is emerging.
So that's my
One of
sister
women
Holly. She's
born
awesome.
and raised American.
Losing my mother was kind of like where things took a turn for the worse.
We're heading for a safe house that cares for child victims of sex trafficking.
These kids that are being identified at age 12 and 13 and 14 desperately need help now.
You okay?
Roaming streets, sold online, out of hotels, out of houses.
I was 15 when I was out here. Rosie was 15 when she was out here.
Many are enslaved through drugs and branded as property.
He decided to put two devils having sex on my back. Thought it would be funny, thought it would be cute.
Traditional views of prostitution are being challenged here in Ohio.
I believe that prostitution is the most misunderstood criminal enterprise in America right now. Put her on the right path.
Their treatment of victims is cutting edge. It's succeeding.
I'm happy I'm here, but not here.
They're redefining what sex trafficking really is and how to escape it.
I feel like I'm taking my body back.
We follow 3 survivors in Columbus, Ohio.
Oh my gosh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
No, son of a butthead. Oh, I can't believe this is getting covered up right now. I never in my life thought that this was going to be able to happen.
Closing a life chapter. Under these outlines of flowers is an old tattoo, the name of an ex-boyfriend that was her sugar daddy.
When I was like 19 years old, I got into a relationship with this guy. We lived 2 completely different lifestyles. I wasn't in love with him. He gave me what I wanted as long as I did what he wanted. So the tattoo was just like a sign of loyalty to him, property, reassurance, because it's permanent, it's forever.
It was a mark of things to come. Her hand, tattooed with a rose, hides a branding from a family of sex traffickers.
The branding on my hand is a Spanish word, it's punta, and it can mean 3 different things in Spanish, which is hoe, whore, or the B word. Every morning when I would wake up, there would be somebody else in the bed with me, and I couldn't tell you what happened the night before. I still don't even know. Every single family member had did whatever they wanted to do. Like I said, because I would get so drunk, I would black out. But that was another way of me trying to escape reality, escape my feelings, escape the life that I was living, just being in survival mode. It was always about survival mode. Well, you got to completely rebuild yourself up. To love yourself is one of the hardest things to do, because for your biggest resentment is towards yourself, and your hardest person to forgive is yourself. So when you conquer that and you overcome that, little things like that tattoo, that memory will fade away.
My stepdad was an alcoholic and kind of grew up in like a violent home. My mother had a lot of health problems and she was prescribed a lot of pain medication. I woke up getting ready for school one day and found her dead. And she had shot herself due to this disease. She was going through withdrawals, and she took her own life because of it. I was mad at the world, mad at everyone. Losing my mother was kind of like where things took a turn for the worst, and I started seeking out other ways, and that's when using drugs, I started experimenting with marijuana and ecstasy.
Can you pause it for
really
me?
young.
And so, I want you guys to pay attention to this because, like, these women are sharing like what got them into everything, what kept them there, you know what I mean? And how this is really happening right in front of all of us. And we don't recognize it because we've been groomed by society that prostitutions, drug addicts, all this, it's always their fault. You know what I mean? And I can promise you that majority of people that end up in any of those categories that I just named, there was things happened long before any of that stuff happened that caused them to end up in certain things. And so, don't wait for the white van. Don't listen for, don't listen to this is it, you guys. And this is why everybody's missing it, because this is how it happens right here. This is not even that far from where I'm at right now. You know what I mean? And some of you live in Ohio. Some of you live in the surrounding states. So, and don't think it just happens in the Midwest, because this happens everywhere. Go ahead, AC.
The thing about it, these women, because of them putting this out there, will probably, if people watch us, will probably save thousands, if not hundreds of thousands or millions of men, women, and children from going through this. If you watch for what they talk about, because they're gonna give you, because Summers told me a little bit of this. They're probably gonna tell you how the people that got them into this said little things. Watch for, if you know young children and someone says something that you hear on this video, just think about what they went through, because like Summer said, it's happening everywhere. It's not just happening in New York City or in LA or Chicago or New Orleans or Atlanta, Georgia. It's happening everywhere.
Yeah. And Ellie, I know you said, like, how do people get out? Every single person's story is different. Every single person's story is how they got out is completely different from the next person's. Some people, it was an easy extraction. We don't really like saying rescues and shit like that because we're not dogs. You can't rescue us. It's important to learn the language too. I show you all this stuff too because I want people to understand the language, and because there are things that people can say that can trigger survivors. And some survivors it doesn't bother because it is what it is, and then some shit. If you're sitting here trying to help somebody, wordage is everything. And so if you're especially thinking, and just because, and this is something I had to learn as well, just because my trafficking happened one way doesn't mean that it is like everybody else's. Every single person is unique, period. So all right, AC, go ahead and play it.
Young, I remember one of my boyfriends, he sold drugs, and I started using pain pills, and I still didn't even realize that I was going down like the same path as my mother, being addicted to pain medication. By the age of 19, I was using heroin, and I didn't know what it was about. I just knew I loved the way that I felt when I did it. And the men that I always, it was abusive relationships, that became my norm. I grew up watching my mother, get beat, and I always said I would never let a man put his hands on me, but it didn't matter. He could beat me till my face turned blue, but if he told me he was sorry and he told me that he loved me, I fed off of that more. Before I even met a pimp, the sex trafficking was already happening because people have this image of like this man in a suit selling these women, like what you see on TVs, and that's not the case. Really, it's happening in your backyard. It could be a family member, it can be a boyfriend living in Nebraska, and continuing to hang around that family. It's not like they held my hand down to do that, but I felt like I belonged and like I was somebody. And at the time, I had no self-worth or self-love for myself, so that was okay.
Like old-fashioned slave owners, many traffickers brand their women. They force their victims into getting tattoos to prove their loyalty. It's what inspired Survivors Inc., a charity set up by Jennifer Kempton. herself a survivor of sex trafficking. Tattooist Mike Prickett covers up brandings, as well as other physical reminders of trafficking like scars and burns at no cost to the women. Jennifer died 2 years ago, but Mike continues the work they
That's my
began
sis.
4 years ago.
So when you got started, how often were you doing cover-ups for these women?
At least once a week. That's been kind of eye-opening. Human trafficking was one of those things that was never really on my radar. It was something that you saw on the news that happened in other countries, not in your backyard. So kind of recognizing that was a little bit rougher than what I had anticipated, thinking, you know, I have sisters, I have a daughter, I have a strong wife, like it could have been any of them at some time, you know.
Have you noticed any trends in the past 4 years with the types of brandings that are getting covered?
Probably the last like year and a half, 2 years, things have been a lot bigger. When I first started, they were maybe softball size. Now I get more stuff like this that takes 2 to 4 or 5 sessions than just one quick one. That's it. You're a champ. That was a lot of lines.
It'll take a few more sessions before this cover-up is coloured and completed, but the outlines are done.
That looks so good. Thank you. You can't even see it. Oh my god. Good hug. I appreciate you.
Oh, no problem. I'm glad that you got it done.
Excuse me. Anyway, dude, let me tell you something. I've been branded 6 times. My sister Jennifer Kempton started Survivors Inc. And I remember I got I had a brand on my back, and she got it covered up for me. She found a tattoo artist here in it was in Indiana that partnered with her, because you have to understand that these tattoo artists that do this stuff, they don't charge the women, they don't charge the organizations. They literally do this for free. You can look up Jennifer Kempton's TED Talk on TED Talk, and she actually talks about like her story, and she talks about like why she started it and things like that. And it'll talk about it a little bit here. But it's the most freeing thing to have those brands covered up. Because I mean, like, you know, it's still there always, but like, you don't have to look at it anymore. And so it's kind of like our trauma and stuff. It's like, we know it's there, but we work really hard so we can be the best people that we can be. And so I respect Jennifer so much. I will always honor her. And when she passed, I started kind of a branch of that, something like that here in Kentucky called Jennifer's Heart. And we've been able to get domestic violence survivors, human trafficking survivors, and even ex-gang members brands covered up. I partner with a place called True Gold. I think that's it. Yeah. No, Stay Gold. I'm sorry, Stay Gold Tattoos, and in the South End area, I guess you could say. And so Mark really, when I went to Mark, and after Jennifer died, they tattooed her name and stuff on me, and I was telling him about her, and I was telling him about what she did, and I was like, you know, I said, we run into those situations a lot down here, and I said, I would like to just, you know, and it's nothing big. I don't really advertise it a whole lot. I don't take donations for it because we don't need money for it, you know. But I've worked with a couple different tattoo artists. Mark's my main guy that helps me, but Truth Tattoos will also help, and just a couple other artists. And I think that's really powerful for artists to take. And again, like I was saying earlier, everyone has gifts, everyone has talents that can help. And to sit there and be a part of a woman that got that brand, even if you're a volunteer that takes her, right? Like, because we need that. We need volunteers sometimes to pick our girls up and the women up and take them to go get their tattoos done and stuff. I can tell you it'll be the most life-changing thing you've ever experienced, because my friend Tammy went with me, and it was pretty powerful. So I'll and I should have looked for them the other day or when I was doing the research, but I'll find the pictures and the little video that we took when we had it. And so in her TED Talk, in Jennifer's TED Talk, she takes I think there's like 3 or 4 tattoos from the befores and the afters, and she used my first tattoo that she helped me get covered up. I got the last brand covered up on my thigh, and Mark helped me do that, and so it was pretty cool. You can get names and you can get symbols, and the reason why they have brands is so when you're out on the track or the blade, excuse me, and that's for like street prostitution, or whatever it is, because different, that's the common most name for it. But anyway, yeah, so it's pretty dope. It's pretty dope, and they to cover them up, but they do them so that when you're out in the strip clubs or wherever you're at, they can identify you. Another pimp or another whoever is maybe doing the trafficking or whatever can be like, okay, this is such and such girl or whatever. So women, depending on how many traffickers they may have or whatever, they can actually have a lot of brands. And so yeah. All right, you can go ahead, AC.
And I want to hit on, I think it was Max that said that
Hold on 1 second.
about billboards.
Hold on, AC, 1 second. Elizabeth, I don't see any issues in here with anybody talking or not talking. And if you want to stay, you can. But like again, I haven't seen one issue in the comments with anybody. And Katrina, am I missing something? So you're more than welcome to stay. People that are going to comment are going to comment. Well, people that'll comment, they'll come in here and comment. You know what I mean? Like, so you don't have alpha energy. We're over here. We're all just equal. We're all just chilling, and that's just the way it is. So, I appreciate you, but I hope you stay. And if you don't, I totally understand. But yeah, you don't have to leave. So go ahead, AC. My bad.
But I think it was Max that said about the billboards in Las Vegas and San Jose and all that. Sometimes people, and I ran across this, some people don't ever know that they are actually being trafficked.
The only person to make an issue out of is you, girl. It's cool. You don't have to go, but I understand if you do. Go ahead, AC.
But some women and men that are a part of this don't know they're actually getting trafficked.
Right.
So them billboards do save lives, don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
but a lot of people don't know they're actually being trafficked until near the end of halfway through or all the way through before they're like, that guy, they connect the dots then. But yes.
Well, I mean, honestly, a lot of people, because we don't use that language, okay? So that's what you all have to understand. So, I mean, yeah, we know what pimps and shit like that is, you know what I mean? But even that aspect of it, because of just different things people might go through and stuff, you don't see it that way. There could be, I mean, sometimes there's dudes that have multiple girlfriends. So if a guy's sitting here grooming you and that's what he's doing, it may not even seem like anything, you know what I mean? So and in some situations it does, so but here, in my opinion, I think one of the biggest ways is through that boyfriend mentality things. But a lot of women is, they may know that they're getting pimped out, but we don't even know that that's trafficking, right? Because I didn't have a clue. I didn't have a clue what trafficking was. We didn't use that language, and especially back when this stuff was happening to me, people ain't talk about trafficking. It's just in the last couple of years, last 10 years probably, that people started mentioning about it on a high speed, but like on a big jump. And honestly, it's because a lot of survivors stepped up and started talking, all the way from Annie in Las Vegas to Jennifer Kempton to Leslie King to Rebecca Bender. These are people that have stepped up and do the work. You know what I mean? And they're amazing. And it's a struggle every day. Because you deal with a lot when you step out from doing everything and then become a part of the solution too. So, but I salute every single person, especially survivors and victims that are, victims that turned into survivors that turned into warriors. But also I want to say to any woman that is out there or any man that is out there that has been through this stuff, don't think that you have to live this grand old life because, you know, those of us that put our lives on center stage for everybody, whether it's through our healing, through our speaking, through our outreach, whatever, like, it's a lot. It's a lot because people expect you to be this person that they can't even hold themselves accountable to, you know, and you're, you know, you're trying not to lose your shit and like totally freak the fuck out on people. And sometimes it just happens like that, you know what I mean? And so it's a lot of pressure, and it's a lot of pressure because, like, you know, maybe a bigger organization or a non-survivor organization, somebody calls in and says, hey, I need help or whatever like that. Like they may help them in a couple days. When you're a survivor of this shit, you realize you may not have a couple days. You may not have 5 minutes. You know what I mean? So whatever that need is, we truly try to meet that need, you know, and in these days, it's a little bit harder because, as we all know, the economy and everything else that's going on, which makes things worse on so many different levels. You know, it puts more people out on the streets. I know during the pandemic, when a lot of the bars and clubs shut down, it forced a lot of women into things that they normally wouldn't do. You know what I mean? And so, and men, just to survive. Like you heard my sister say earlier, like, we live in survival mode. I'm still in survival mode every single day. And I'm sure for those that are into counseling and therapy and the legal aspect and all that, probably watch me and's like, yeah, you know what I mean? And that's okay, because I'm not going to hide it. I'm not that me hiding it and trying to put this mask on. Dude, that shit fucking, even when I got out of the life, it sent me to a relapse. You know, I'm the first year or so, it was like maybe first couple of months, I ended up relapsing, you know, and it wasn't like a long house binge or anything like that, but not that that would matter. I relapsed, and when I came to my senses, you know what I mean? I went in front of my people and I said, listen, I'm sorry. I have so much fucking pressure on me. I feel like I'm supposed to figure all this shit out, and I can't even put on the right shoes sometimes. You know what I mean? And that's when I had to give myself, I had to kind of like USA a little bit and give myself a little grace. Because again, even 7 years, I'll be out of the life 8 years in February, and that's still nothing. You know what I mean? Like, I got women around me that've been out the years 20 plus years, you know what I mean? So, and then I tell people all the time, enjoy your time, man. Like, enjoy your healing. You don't have to go out and speak. You don't have to do all that stuff. Don't feel like you have to. Love yourself. Enjoy living a normal life. And most of us have to figure out what that looks like, you know. So yeah, it's a lot, but just enjoy being free. You know what I mean? Like, enjoy being free, because it's a lot stepping into this work, and sometimes it almost feels like, sometimes it feels like I'm back in the life, you know what I mean? Because of the drama and the re-exploitation and the hidden agendas and all this shit, you know. And I always say, like, at least in the life, I knew what to expect. All I had to do was survive, you know. And sometimes it's harder, but no matter how hard it gets, I'm not giving up. You know what I mean? You may see me cry, lose my shit. I probably have quit a billion times, but I'm never walking away. You know what I mean? So, all right, go ahead, play this video.
I'm proud of you, sis.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Most people believe sex trafficking victims are brought into the United States from places like South America or Asia. And while that does
That's
happen,
not true.
it's fairly uncommon.
Not completely.
The Department of Justice says over 80% of victims are actually born and raised right here in the US. And Ohio is one of the worst states for sex trafficking. Columbus sits in the middle of the US, at the center of a busy intersection of highways that link the north and south, east and west. But many women are simply trafficked from within their own neighborhoods.
We're heading for a safe house that cares for child victims of sex trafficking, and apparently they're seeing a growing demand for beds and have given us rare access to see exactly why more and more girls are caught up in this crisis.
This is Grace Haven. When we arrive, the girls are doing an online course in a small classroom. On top of their studies, these girls take part in therapy sessions, do fun activities and go on field trips, anything to give girls back their childhoods.
So we can't identify the exterior of this place or the girls that occupy it, so I'm going to give you a little tour. Here we've got games, 2 shelves of it. There are colouring in books. I guess it kind of gives you a sense of just how young these girls are.
I just
And
want to
then here
say
we've got-
coloring books are excellent for trauma. Yes, I know that's a child's a child's safe house, but I just want to throw out there, y'all better get y'all some coloring books. They will save you from cussing people out, strangling people, driving yourself crazy. It is a very so again, and I don't know all the professional terms. I'm sure there's some people out there with some education and know the proper terms for things, and you guys can help me if you want. I don't feel like I'm being corrected. I don't know at all. But through so when I opened up my shelter, I believe that you should never reinvent the wheel, right? There's amazing people that are doing, and survivors that are doing amazing things. And so I sat down with one of my mentors, Leslie King, an amazing fucking powerhouse out of Michigan. This woman is dope. Do you hear me? And she takes no shit. And that's what I love about her. And most of us don't. We don't take shit from people because we don't have time for it. We've done survived hell, and you're gonna come and try to come with some stupid shit. We ain't got time for that. But anyway, sitting down with her and her, you know, she runs a successful, amazing fucking program up in Michigan. And I mean, you guys can check her out. Scared Beginnings. Donate to it. It's a safe house that helps women, and it's just an amazing, amazing program. But sitting down with her and you know, and she's like, sis, I'm going to show you everything. She gave me the ropes, you know what I mean? And she helped me come up with my plan for the shelter. So it wasn't like I just sat here and was like, oh. I mean, yes, there were some things I was very adamant about in my program because as a woman that's been through so much shit, I sat back and I was like, damn, you know, I'm missing this. I don't know how to do this. You know what I mean? And so, and one thing that we came up with was we know that art therapy is a huge, huge thing. And so I partnered with one of my friends, Kim, Sideways Studios. She does amazing work here in Louisville with the youth and stuff through and working through their trauma with art and stuff. And she was like, hey, some coloring books. We need to keep coloring books. And so every single girl that that comes in through the shelter or whatever, I also partner with another organization that's called Free to Hope. And she makes like these welcoming bags. And so we put a really nice little bag that has all kinds of goodies in it and stuff like that. And then we put a Bible for those that want it. We always ask about the Bible because the religion for trafficking victims can be very, very triggering because there is spiritual ritual abuse and all kinds of different things that happen in trafficking. And so just FYI, if you ever go out and do any kind of, you know, any kind of outreach or anything, keep that in mind. You know, don't make it about, look, God's got you there, right? Like God's got you there to love on people and everything. He don't need you to throw religion down their throat. You can't do that until, hold on, wait a minute. You can't do that kind of stuff until you build a relationship with them. And in all honesty, religion is supposed to be a relationship, right? And so if you're doing it correctly, then you know that you go to, you know, your creator, whoever that may be. And plus, not only that, you may not know, they may not believe, and that's okay. They don't have to believe. They may be, you know, of different religion types than you are. And so again, it's about building that relationship with them. It's about, you know, getting to know them and understanding, because God forbid, what if these girls, somebody that you were with, or this, you know, a man went through spiritual ritual abuse, and then you're like, hey, can I pray for you? Hey, here's a Bible. Hey, here's some Jesus. Hey. And really the whole time you're hey, and you think you're doing something good, you're triggering the fuck out of them. You know, and so I'll tell you, I'm gonna let AC talk real quick, and then I'll tell you about something real quick. Go ahead.
A friend said this to me one day, and it's very appropriate for what we're talking about. With these people, with people like Summer and other people that have went through this.
Just say survivors or victims. Don't say these people.
The survivors.
Sorry.
Yeah, but you know,
I know what you mean, but you know, I want us to get good on our language. You know what I mean? Because it's important. It matters.
A friend said this to me: a broken crayon still can color. A broken crayon, even if you're broken. Even if you're broken, and Summer's the perfect example for this right now, because with everything she's going through, even if you're broken, you can still be beautiful. You can still be that person, whatever your higher power has set you to be. So, even if you're broken, think of yourself as that crayon. A broken crayon can still color, can still make that rainbow. So, why can't
well, I mean, after every national disaster, like anytime hurricane, tornadoes, earthquakes, typhoons, there's always like, it's crazy because it seems like the day right after all that happens, the sky is so beautiful. You know what I mean? And I have a beautiful disaster tattooed on this side of my neck for that reason, because yes, I'm very aware of my flaws. I'm very aware of my issues and I'm working on them. Unfortunately, it's in front of you all. Fortunately and unfortunately, it's in front of all you all. But that's just the way my creator chose my path. You know what I mean? And I'm cool with that. So I had a lady one time, she contacted me and she said, hey, I would love to do some fundraising stuff with you. And it was about maybe 8-9 months after I opened the house up. And I was like, well, you know, I'll be at my office at this time. If you want to, I do meetings on this day. So if you want to come through, come on. Well, one of my girls, I got this girl in, this woman in a couple, maybe a week or so before that. She had been through a lot of things. She was not into the whole God thing. She was not into the whole Jesus thing. She wasn't into religion. She was more like crystals and things like that, which I thought was dope and awesome, right? And so she's sitting downstairs that afternoon. I was in a meeting with somebody else because on certain days I plan meetings. So all day long, it's just I'm in meetings all day. And so I get done with the first meeting. And this lady comes up and she looks so concerned. And I'm like, well, hey, sweetie, how you doing? You know, welcome to Esther's house. Like, I'm Summer. What's going on? And she's like, I'm just concerned. And I said, well, what are you concerned about? And she said, well, do you know all the girls that live here are not Christian? And I started laughing. I said, yeah, actually, I do. I said, and you know what? That's okay with me. They don't need to be Christian to stay here. That's not how we roll things. And she said, well, that girl downstairs, she's, you know, she believes in like crystals and stuff. And, you know, that's devil worship and stuff. And I said, sweetie, I said, I'm going to try to be as polite as I can right now because I'm trying to do the right thing. I'm like, but don't you think maybe you're being a little judgmental because you don't know what she's went through? I said, so, you know, I would probably just ask you to keep your personal opinions on her religion or what you think about that to yourself. And, you know, and then she goes in and she starts talking about, you know, what this idea that she has for a fundraiser, which is like some calendars or whatever. And then she comes back to it and she's like, you know, it just really, Summer, you know, the house is called Esther's house. And I said, yes, I know what the house is called. I said, because I love the story Esther in the Bible. I said, but that has no reflection on, you know, and yes, I did Bible studies and shit like that, but women were not made to go to Bible studies because again, I know their triggers. But now the beauty in all of, now this meeting with this lady, she just kept on and kept on. I said, you know, what I'm gonna need you to do is get your shit, take your checkbook and get the fuck out my house. Because under no circumstances around me would you ever judge or hurt a victim. And there's no amount of money, there's no amount of fundraiser, there's no amount of check you can write that you think I'm gonna sit here and and let you judge a young lady. Now, the beauty in this, okay, because of who I am and the way I do shit, I have a lot of people around me that are not believers, you know. When I open this house up, I don't force girls to go to, you know, all that shit. But we do Bible studies and we do groups and stuff. And the way we do them, it's just, I don't know, dude, it's powerful. And because I didn't force religion down some women's throats, there are women that even were hurt by religion. I was able to baptize over 20 some odd women, not because I sit here and force Jesus down their throat. That same girl, a couple weeks later, I'm getting cold chills because she passed away, unfortunately. But when she was in the program, a couple weeks later, she came to me. We were doing Bible study, and she's like, Miss Summer, you care if I come in? I'm like, yeah, babe, go ahead, grab a seat. Yeah, we have this real long couch. I can fit like 10 girls on this damn couch. It's huge. And she sat through a couple of the classes, and she just looked up, and another girl also said this. Now, this is 2 different timings. They said, you know, you make Jesus look cool. That was the most powerful thing that's been said to me, right? Because that's how you do it. You don't shove it, you know, you let people make their own choices. And especially in trafficking, you can't force anybody to do anything. People are going to do things on their own timing if that's what they choose to do. If they don't, that's okay too. You know what I mean? So, and like I said, this young lady passed away some years later due to some health issues and stuff. Because unfortunately, sometimes what happens when you get clean for so many years of doing drugs and things like that, it's crazy because sometimes when you get clean, it causes a lot of health issues. And unfortunately, you know, we lost her to that. But she's an amazing angel, an amazing young woman. And, you know, I don't know where that lady is with them calendars and that fundraiser, but I can tell you where she ain't. And that's at Esther's house, judging the women that come in through my doors, you know, because that's their home. And I'm really, I don't know. I'm not with that. I'm going to go see what the chat says real quick. Yes, I do, to keep any, from coming out. Okay. They're talking amongst themselves. She seriously didn't have an understanding of what the healing of God is about. Yeah, you know, and that's okay. Some people are just, I mean, it's not okay because religion hurts. But I'm very stance on how I feel. You know, let me tell you something. I don't care if somebody is a devil worshiper or whatever you want to call it, right? Like, which most people are not. That's just what people think. But anyway, I don't care because my relationship with my creator is cool. You know what I mean? Like, so I just don't do that. I don't, and you know, I'll get in and talk about God and all that kind of stuff, but I don't force it down people's throat. And I understand that people for centuries in our world has been hurt by religion. And so I think it's something that should be a relationship. And so, yeah, she made my girl feel uncomfortable. I wasn't going to let my girl feel uncomfortable. So she had to go. So just a little story. Okay, you can press play now.
But like she said, have coloring books. If you get into this line of work, if you try to help survivors and that, have coloring books, because I'm 41 years old. I will say this right now. There are times on my kitchen table right now, there's like 7 or 8 coloring books that I say are for my kids for around me, but I'll sit there and color. So just saying.
Well, it's good for, listen, it's good for any trauma. Like, really, it's good for any anxiety issues, anything like that, no matter what you've been. There's something just keeping that hand busy and just focusing, and especially because those little coloring books, they have a lot of little places you gotta kind of dig in, you know, when you get down there. So there's therapy and everything. And like I said, we did art therapy, and let me tell you, these women loved art therapy. When we do art therapy, oh, it's so cool, because like just all the different things that we make. I actually have to go down to my shelter tomorrow, and there's no one in it right now. And so I may show you guys, just show you a couple things, you know what I mean? Because we did some art, we did some amazing art, and it brings people together. It brings, you know, and you can just work through your shit and making pretty masterpieces. So, all right, go ahead and start this video.
The living room space. Moving into the bedroom. This bedroom looks like any girl's bedroom. This could be my bedroom. Lots of self-affirmations on the wall. What I find quite shocking is that there's a picture of an ultrasound on the board. So there's a girl in here that's expecting. Some of the girls here are as young as 12, and they're usually here for 8 months until authorities find them a new home. I'm meeting with Scott Arnold, who runs the center.
We like it here.
It feels like a real home.
Well, that is part of what we're after.
That is surprising to me.
As much as we can, not an institutional place.
That there are 12-year-olds
Pause it.
Come either through a local county.
Because this is an important part people need to hear. What surprises you?
That there are girls, and I'll call them girls because of their age.
Right.
That girls as young as 12 are in that place.
So in Kentucky, the youngest sexual assault victim is 2 weeks old, and the youngest trafficking victim is 2 months old. If that tells you anything. So, yeah. Unfortunately, there's a lot of babies.
But I love that I've come over and met you, because I would have never known these facts. I know facts for adoption in the U.S., yes, because of my story. But I would have never thought that. I would have never.
The foster care system, unfortunately, you know, and it's great when people land amazing foster parents, right? And that's why we need so many amazing people to step the fuck up and help. But unfortunately, the foster care system and CPS is one of the biggest ways in America that children are trafficked, because, you know, whether it's knowingly or unknowingly, they are continually to put children in homes with predators, and that's not okay. You know what I mean? So, yeah, unfortunately,
believe me, I know CPS is a corrupt government organization.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna go ahead. Yeah, that's a whole different other conversation. And I don't want to pump people up with too much. I want them to, because we will get into that too. We will get into that because there is a huge issue with that. But yeah, so unfortunately, young victims, as heartbreaking as it is, it's something that happens very often. And so a home like this is very important because, and any shelter that specializes in trafficking victims, because it's different than, it's even, the most similar it can be next to is domestic violence. I always say that like domestic violence and human trafficking are a lot alike because, okay, domestic violence is a couple, but if you take that couple and you switch it up, you know what I mean, and you turn that man or that woman into a pimp, then it's trafficking. It's the same tactics, the manipulation, the abuse, the mind games, the debt abuse, all of that. But at the end of the day, there's still different things, even when it comes to domestic violence, because like I said, being sold over and over again, being raped all over again, all these different things is why they can happen in domestic violence. It definitely happens in trafficking. And so why the ideal dream for human trafficking victims is to have homes or shelters everywhere. And the reason why this is because then you can have people, non-survivors and survivors, work hand on with these young ladies and these young men and these men and the women, and they can get the true help that they need, because trauma bonding is a huge thing. You know what I mean? Even, and this is something I had to learn when I first opened my shelter, because girls would come and talk to me about things, and me just being who I am, you know what I mean? I'd be like, yeah, this is the mental stuff I struggled with, and this is what I've overcame. And then they'd be like, well, what's that? And I'd tell them, and then like a week later, they'd be like, oh, I got DID, and so there's a victim mentality, there's trauma bonding. And that was something I had to learn. I was like, hold on. I was like, I think I'm seeing a pattern here. And I fixed it accordingly, because again, yes, I'm an expert in my trafficking, but in every situation, I'm still learning, you know what I mean? And every single day, unfortunately, because we live in a fucked up world, we're seeing new ways of trafficking happening. We're seeing new torture things to happen to mind control victims and stuff. And so yeah. All right, go ahead and play that beautiful bean footage.
County court or a children's services agency.
Can you tell me a bit about the trend, about whether this is a growing problem?
The need, I think, is growing in dramatic ways, in part because we're rethinking what it means to be a sex trafficked young person.
Around 3,000 underage girls are at risk of being trafficked each year in Ohio. Resources are stretched. Here at full capacity, there are 8 girls. They're planning on tripling that number, but even that may not be enough.
How do these children get trafficked in the first place?
It can be a mom who frequently can be drug addicted and needs some resources financially to pay for her drug addiction. It can also be moms who bring a man into their home, whether it's the father or more often than not a boyfriend, who begins to molest the child, and then things go from there. Another typical path would be a young person who is in relational strain with their family. And so that kid is at risk to an older man that shows up in her life and begins to act and behave like he's romantically interested. And then other men start being brought in, and the pressure starts being put on the girl. Well, I've done all these things for you and I love you. Why won't you do this for me? And then there's another subset that I would say, and that is runaway kids. They'll stop and roll down the window. Do you have a place to live? Are you okay? Can I buy you a meal? And so they're preyed on.
That happens a lot.
These kids that are being identified at age 12 and 13 and 14 desperately need help now. Nearly every prostitute that we see was a child once that was trafficked against her will and manipulated into a life, and then is felt trapped and doesn't find an off-ramp to that life frequently until their life is completely destroyed. That is what prostitution is. And the start of that is what human trafficking is. When you see it that way, suddenly you're horrified at a whole new level.
Holly is a survivor of sex trafficking.
That's my
She's sharing
sis.
us her local
She's
neighborhood
amazing.
with her younger sister, Rosie.
I moved to Columbus when I was 15 to live with my real mother, which is like one of the worst decisions of my life, because within 2 weeks of being here in Columbus with my real mother. We were using drugs together. Within a month of being here in Columbus, we were prostituting together.
Holly reclaimed her life 4 years ago and is living near the same streets that held her captive for 17 years.
And this is
Where you grew up?
Yeah, this is my stepdad's house.
Okay.
Well, I guess I wouldn't. I mean, I guess he's my stepdad, like, because he was there for like most of it. But like, he was my mom's sugar daddy.
I
don't
know
if you that
exactly
term
where
is, but,
that's
like,
at.
An older man that takes care of you.
Yeah.
And like this is where she brought us to.
Right.
Yeah.
And how many, who lived here then at the time?
At the time, it was me, it was her, it was him, it was
Mhm.
his 2 sons.
Mm-hmm.
Just a lot of chaos and dysfunction. Yeah.
How long were you here
He was a
for?
trick too of
Mhm.
ours. Like, I think he had sex with all of us. Me, my sister,
I used
my
to
other
have sex
sister.
with him like every month around the first of the month when he'd get his check.
God, I can't imagine.
I used to be angry, but I'm not so angry anymore. Like, it doesn't serve a purpose. It just keeps me like bound up inside. So like, you kind of just forgive and move forward with your life.
Have you ever
Because
considered like reporting them or?
I don't think that would do any justice. I don't know. He's like in his 80s. He's like on his deathbed.
Rosie was led down a similar path of drugs and abuse.
Can you pause that for a
The
second?
only
I want people to understand what she just said. The reporter asked her, she said, did you ever prosecute them? There is a lot of survivors, there's a lot of victims, and there's a lot of survivor advocates, okay, that never report the abuse. Because for many different reasons. You can every reason you can think of is a reason, right? And unfortunately, and I've said this even here recently with, and this is, what I'm going through is not trafficking or anything like that now, but I'm in the court system over some shit. And I mean, the court system's not set up for victims, unfortunately. I feel like sometimes they're more set up for the perpetrators and protecting their rights, right? And that happens, unfortunately, a lot. Now, I will say in the last couple of years, there has been some pretty big trafficking cases that people have, went to jail. I mean, even here in Louisville, yeah, look at that sexy man behind me. How you doing, sexy? But even in Louisville and all over, there's a lot more places. A lot of times what was happening is you were finding people would be charged with something and then they get plead down to a bunch of different shit. So then trafficking wouldn't even be an issue. And I'm sure my paralegal that's in the chat, she could probably, especially because she's for Kentucky and Ohio, even if she doesn't do this kind of work, I'm sure she's understood, like, it's really hard for victims. And even if you're an advocate in that stuff, and look, here's Holly, she's doing the work. She's doing the work where she was sold, where she was at, where all the stuff is, right? And her and her sister are boots on the ground and they're helping because they understand that, like, dude, the only thing that can happen sometimes when you prosecute somebody is they kill you. And so, yes, it was. Some judges and attorneys were in on it. Yes, 100%. And I say this, there is a clip of a radio show that I did that's floating around over on YouTube's these days, right? Because somebody took it and mocked it or whatever. But anyway, in the radio thing, and if you ever hear me speak or anything, I talk about it. I talk about it on here all the time. There's cops, there's judges, there's mayors, there's lawyers, there's all these fucking powerful people in play that continue to allow this shit to go on. I mean, here in Louisville, Kentucky, we had, Hankinson, he's did all the crazy shit that he's done. And please and understand that there are powerful people that are attached to that as well. And anybody that thinks there's not is crazy. Unfortunately, he hasn't been charged with anything because a lot of victims are scared to come forward, and so, hold on one second.
But and like Summer said, there are people, the survivors are scared because I have talked to a survivor today, and she said the reason she doesn't go after the people that did this to her is because she's afraid that it will come back on her and she'll end up in jail before they do. So
yeah,
that's a normal thing.
Yeah, and that's why you'll hear me, like a lot of us, we try to do things from aspects of, unfortunately, like we can't, there's certain, like, we can't do the work if we're dead. Okay. Like it just can't happen. Right. And now in my situation, like I said, and a lot of my shit back then, I was a victim back then, man. Like I was scared of power and control. I've been, you know, raped by people in power. I've been bought and sold by people in power. You know what I mean? Like, and so of course, where the fuck are you going to go for help when it's the lawyers, the judges, those are your tricks. You know what I mean? And that's in every city, just FYI. And when you get especially if you get higher up the power and control aspect of things, dude, it gets more sick and twisted, because the more money these people have, the more sick and twisted, like dungeon rooms and all kinds of crazy shit you can't wrap your mind around happens. Because again, most people, that especially the ones that spend a lot of money, they have money. They get off on sick and twisted things. And so what are you going to do when you've been in these places and you've seen the things these people do, and you've seen them kill people, and you know, all this shit? Where are you going to go? Who are you going to go to? You're not, you know. And most of the time, you know, if you, not all the time at all, but sometimes, you know, women can start over and you know, and they're not causing any issues. They can go out and they can do the work and help victims. And that's what it's about for me. Yeah, is shouting somebody's a pedo to the mountaintop, or shouting that somebody's a trafficker to the mountaintop. Yeah, that's all fine and dandy. You know what I mean? Yeah, you can call people out, I guess, but you also have to understand that comes with that. People get killed over shit like that real quick. You know, you can get put in some real dangerous fucking situations because while you're out here screaming, everybody sees that you're the one screaming and doing this. And so you're a very easy target. And so a lot of, and shout out to the women that do prosecute their abusers. Slowly but surely, because of survivors and advocates and lawyers and people that aren't fucking around with this, it is becoming a little bit, you're seeing, like, we had cops, we've had sheriffs, we had judges. Matter of fact, fucking crazy shit. So we have a situation here in Kentucky to where if a perpetrator gets busted or whatever, like, they have to pay some fines, and they have to make a donation to, like, people that are doing the work, you know, like organizations that are bringing awareness and shit like that. And that's happened. You know what I mean? Like, and so
now that might be, if we could get our politicians to actually do it.
Well, we're doing
it. That need to be nationwide.
So here we're trying to create, like I would, and me and other survivors and people that are in legislation and stuff like that, we've been working on this for years. And the only thing is like it's really hard to create new stuff, is one thing I'm learning, but it can be done. And so one thing we're working on here is what we would like to see is kind of a John program. Back in the day, they used to put here in Kentucky, and specifically Louisville, people would get popped for prostitution and shit like that, and they would put them in the newspapers or whatever. And yeah, that's not justice, but in the same times, it kind of is sometimes, because it's like, motherfucker, now everybody knows what you're doing, right? But then the more powerful people and the more cops and the more people in law and shit like that was getting busted, they were like, oh, we can't be doing that shit no more. You know what I mean? So they yanked that. I would like to see some kind of John program. There's other states that are doing stuff like that, and what that consists of, in a very 2-second layout, is if somebody gets popped with doing stuff like this, like there's a first level, second level, third level, you know, you have to go and you have to do classes. You have to listen to women or men, you know what I mean, that have survived human trafficking. You have to take health classes. You have to pay fines. You have to, you know, and then so you lose your license, and then, you know, some jail time or whatever. Depending on how serious shit is, because ain't nobody giving you some classes if you're out here just, you know what I mean? But that's more for the tricks, right? Because I've even had people reach out to me like that. I stripped and I prostituted and shit, right? And I've had people reach out to me and be like, damn, I didn't know you was going through all that, you know, and I'm sorry that, you know, hearing your story and things has really changed me and how I do things and I look at things, and I just want to say I'm sorry. It's kind of fucking crazy when that happens. But you know what I mean? Like, I'm not here. I want to bring awareness, yes, to and help victims, but also there's a lot of people that participate in prostitution, and I don't expect anybody to be like, yep, I did. You know what I mean? Because most people won't. And I'm not here to shame people that did, because I understand that. And again, not all advocates do shit like this. But I understand sometimes, right? Like, I understand the different avenues and things. And there are some people that think that, you know, oh, this, I can do this and it's okay, nobody's being hurt or anything. But what they don't understand is when that victim leaves, you know, sometimes they are being hurt. And so, you know, I think a lot of victims tell their stories so people can understand, and maybe, just maybe, you know what I mean, you won't participate in that, you know. But I mean, even if you do, there should be accountability, you know. And so I think, and I hope people, and I know they do, I know people do, I know people learn a lot of different things from not just me, but from so many different people. And then also on a legal aspect, since we're kind of talking about this venue right now, I am a big advocate for decriminalizing prostitution. I never want to legalize prostitution. If you legalize prostitution, and again, I got my paralegal in the house, so I'm gonna bounce it off, and if I'm wrong, please fix it if you know about it. But if you decriminalize prostitution, what it does is it helps victims get out of, and here in a minute, there'll be two in the court session, so you'll learn about some of this. But when you arrest a woman for prostitution, whether she's a prostitute or she's a victim of human trafficking, either way, you create a debt bondage, right? And like, there's different ways when you decriminalize it, you can offer resources to the victims, and you can offer a different avenue. They can go into a program, they can get the resources they help. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, I've known women that went out and tricked because nobody would help them get their kids' school supplies, and they died because of that. You know what I mean? Like, they died because that initial night, the only reason they went out is to make sure their kids had shit for school, and they never made it back in. That's a fucking problem. There is no reason in the United States of America that there should be anybody that feels like they have to go trick to get fucking school supplies. And I know people say, well, there's all kinds of places that give away, and there's all kinds of people that get those things. So that, you know, that's another thing that I do. I don't just help women that are out of the life. I help women that are on that teeter-totter aspect of trying to get out of the life, right? I know a lot of women that have stopped, and then, you know, hey, bills still fucking happen. Like, diapers are still needed. Food is still needed. Life goes on, whether, you know what I mean? And so we try to help meet them where they're at and help them with that. You know what I mean? Now, I'm not sitting here saying I'm going to solve all your problems, because in that help, you got to do some work too. You know what I mean? Because we all got to put in work. We all got to put in some healing. We all got to find a transformation somewhere. You know what I mean? Now, we're not going to just help them and be like, well, if you don't do what we want you to, we're not going to help you, because that's gatekeeping, right? We don't do that shit. But we offer a support system, and maybe at first people are like, I'm good. But eventually, you know what I mean? Whether it's because people are like, you're on live all the time. I am. Because there's people that need to hear what we're saying, and they need to know that there's help out there. So, you know, so yeah, decriminalize better than legalizing. And not only that, but like, when you legalize prostitution, then you get into this very sticky aspect of things. And if someone gets severely hurt or anything like that, and you need to prosecute them, it'll make it a little bit harder. So I'm all for decriminalizing prostitution. I am not for legalizing it. I think that we will have the red light district here quicker than anybody fucking knows. And I know people go, but in Vegas, well, the lack of education, not all of Vegas is legalized in prostitution. There's only certain pockets that are legalized in prostitution. And guess what? It didn't stop the trafficking, because that's what a lot of people will. If we legalize it, won't it stop it? No. Trafficking will always happen, legal or not. Guess what? People still selling weed, even though weed is legal, right? So if you make prostitution legal, it's not going to stop human trafficking, because it damn sure didn't stop the drug trade.
Am I honest? And this is my opinion on the outside looking in.
Right.
I think if it's made legal.
Good night, Wolf baby. Love you, sweetie.
Night, Wolf. In my honest opinion, it will make it a lot worse. I think more people will go missing than already are in this world, and stuff like that, and be put into this if it's legalized.
Yeah. I understand why people would think like that catch-22, right? I understand why people would be like, well, if you legalize it, it'll take the problem away. And listen, I'm pro-sex work, okay? Yes, I am pro-sex work and anti-human trafficking, okay? And you can be both. And the reason why I'm pro is because I'm never going to tell somebody they can't do something, right? I'm just not. Now, what I'm not going to do is I'm also not going to lie to you. I'm going to tell you what the fuck you're getting yourself into. I'm not going to spin this pretty woman story because, honey, we all want it's a pretty woman situation, but that ain't what we got. You know what I mean? Like, I love that movie. I do. I love that movie. But now that I'm out of the life and everything, I can see how that movie has groomed a lot of women to get into prostitution. And again, you may not understand that. But if you really step back and you think about the shit we've already talked about tonight, yes, something that simple, and it's little things like that that program certain shit to where it's not a big deal. You know what I mean? I mean, Players Club, like, I don't know how many of y'all seen that, but that was one of my fucking favorite movies. You know what I mean? Them strippers know how to fight, baby.
Summer, I used to watch a show on HBO.
Yeah, I still watch.
You probably heard of this. Hookers at the Point. I used to
100%.
watch that.
You know what I mean? Like, and so, but people have to understand, because even like I see this when I'm speaking, right? And again, I mean, I'm not that old. I'm only 43. I'll be 44 in January. So, but back in the day, MTV. Think about it, y'all. Right? The fat asses was real. Like the shaking your booty, doing all this stuff, wearing the very little bitty clothes. It was in every video. It still is. We have WAP and everything, right? Well, it's stuff like, believe it or not, and I didn't used to think this, but yes, it does have, because it takes the shock value away. And it takes the, you know what I mean? Like, well, people are like, well, I see it on there. And, those girls, I mean, some things happen sometimes. I actually had a young lady tell me, I was like, what about, she's like, well, Players Club is the bomb. I said, hell yeah, I love Players Club, baby. I said, and I can understand Players Club 100%. I was like, but did you also see where she showed you, like, yeah, this is cool and glamorified, but they're not talking about when you're being raped. They're not talking about when you're being gang raped. They're not talking about like you getting the fuck beat out of you to where you die. You know what I mean? Like, you're not talking about being raped with a knife or any of the different things that can happen. And these things really happen. Did you say women you knew was killed via needles? I hope not wrong on that. Yes. So I've known women that have been given hot shots and have died. Yes. That is a very big thing in the prostitution world, trafficking world, whatever you want to call it. Because, and it's easy because people, that's the first thing they'd be like, look at that bitch. She's high. She's a junkie. She's this. She's a whore. And it's easy, right? So if society calls me all those things, if I ended up dead right now with a needle in my arm, which I've never shot up a day in my life, but if I did, you know what everybody's going to be like? Oh, damn, that girl was stressed. She relapsed. But people that know me know I've never shot up in my life. So if you find me with a needle in my fucking arm, the 90%, 99.99999, welcome to Murray, probably somebody hot shot me. And that happens a lot. And so many times, I mean, there's stories of women being wrapped up in tarps. There's stories of women being found in abandoned houses in fatal positions with 2 fucking needles in their arm. I can tell you this, there's women that have been found in closets from the waist down with no clothes on and a needle in their arm, but they OD'd, right? The fuck out of here. So yeah, it happens, unfortunately. I'm going to have to check this out later. Have a blessed one. Oh, yes. Anybody, I know this show's running, a little bit, but it's a good show and we still have a lot to dig in. So you can always come back. I know a lot of people got to go to work and stuff. And y'all know I don't do trigger warnings, but sorry for anybody that might be triggered. Make sure you do some self-care. But yeah, you can always come back and watch this. I know that this is kind of a heavy show, and people have to get up and go to work. So love you guys for those that have to go to bed. All right, go ahead and play.
Only time I would see my sister is when I would come out on outreach. So that first time I stopped, I didn't know it was her. I just had said, hey, there's a girl sleeping in a little cubby hole. Can we stop? And as we got closer and she stood up and I was like, hey, would you like a hygiene bag and a lunch? She got up and she,
and this is what I do right now.
That's my sister. And like tears just started flowing. Like I was so devastated. Like I hadn't seen her in a year and a half. And I felt like I had caused this because like my mother brought me into the lifestyle. I was in the lifestyle and like I probably made it look really glamorous. And I brought her into the lifestyle and I brought her into her own living hell.
For more than a year, Holly visited Rosie every week until she escaped into recovery. Looking at that spot now and where you were at, how does that make you feel?
I felt alone. I felt trapped. And I honestly thought that I wasn't going to make it out the lifestyle. I thought that I was going to die out here on these streets.
My mother gave birth to me when she was 16 years old. She gave me to my grandparents who were also alcoholic and smoked marijuana. I can remember being verbally and physically abused by my grandparents, sexually abused by other members of my family, all before the age of 5. I remember being called like a hooker, a whore, things like that, saying I was worthless and just like my mother, before I even knew what any of these things meant.
Yep.
I excelled in school. It was an escape from my reality. I remember being in the first grade and the teacher had the same last name as me. And I used to pretend she was my mother because I longed for a relationship with my mother. I would only get remnants of her. My birthday is Christmas Day. So I'm sitting by the window waiting because she promised me she was coming on Christmas Day to see me with presents. And I remember staring out of the window. She never showed up. At about age 12, I was allowed to smoke marijuana in the home. About age 15, I was in a group home. I got in trouble with the group home, and I decided I was going to come up here and live with my real mother. Within 2 weeks of being here in Columbus, I'm smoking crack cocaine with my mother. And within a month of being here, I'm prostituting with my mother. I was vulnerable, I was exposed. My mother was benefiting from my exploitation. So there was this guy who kept saying, like, come join my team. It looked glamorous. Like, the rap industry depicts like this god. It looked like he took care of them. Like, they all had nice clothes, a place to stay. And I entered into hell. He used to have this saying, like, you signed on the dotted line, you owe me your life. And I thought it was cute or funny or just a joke, but he meant it. I remember walking into another drug house and spending $20 there, and like him finding out and him beating me up. Like, they beat me with a crock pot lid until it broke over my head. And then he told me to go upstairs and take a shower and get cleaned up and go get some money. And that's exactly what I did because I feared for my life. He would take me to the brink of thinking he was going to kill me, and then he would make it all better with drugs or affection or telling me he was sorry. By the time I was 17 or 18, I had been raped more times than I can count. I had been kidnapped. I had been held hostage. I've been stabbed. I've been shot at. I just wanted to be normal. Like, I wanted to be a nurse. I wanted a life. I wanted a family. And I feel that was stolen from me at a very young age. I didn't have that opportunity. I had like this trauma bond to him. Like, I felt like he took care of me, even though like he would beat me and then I'd go upstairs and go to sleep and I'd wake up to him raping me. Like, I felt attached to him because I felt like he cared for me. The one guy like marked most of his girls with either royalty is loyalty or love is loyalty. There was a surplus of women under one house. Sometimes as many as 20 would be working for one pimp. It's not uncommon for most of us to bear some sort of
Can you pause it
branding
for just a second?
from his signia. Like,
so I want to stop real quick because she talks about like up to 20 women. And so in the pimp game world, I guess you could say, or the trafficking world, sometimes pimps have it's fucking crazy. They call us a stable, but it's a stable. And that means that they have many women. And so usually what happens in a situation like that, when there's a lot of women and there's a pimp, there's, you know, a bottom bitch or whatever, and she's responsible for the stable of women to meet a certain quota. And if those quotas don't meet, then, you know, there can be some consequences for that. And I just wanted to explain, explain that. Also, there's a lot of manipulation, right? There's a lot of grooming and shit like this that happens. And so Stockholm Syndrome is very real. You will hear me talk about Stockholm Syndrome a lot. Because especially in the trafficking world and things like that, it happens and you get manipulated. You're already vulnerable. You heard she's been through so much already before any of this even happened. You know what I mean? And so those are your perfect, you know, women like us, we're perfect for things like this because we're vulnerable. We're looking for love. We want a relationship with our, you know, our mothers that maybe we didn't get, or our fathers, whatever. you'll hear me. I call people like sister, brother. I do that all the time. You know what I mean? I'll sit there, and there's certain women in my life, like my friend Tara, and other people, you know, that'll play different roles in my life sometimes, because I think I've always earned for that. Now that I got my own family and I have all my kids back, and I'm trying to figure this whole family thing out, it's amazing, you know. But these are just different things, you know, that unfortunately make you the perfect target for things like this. And so, you know, instead of judging people and you not understanding things and you poking fun at shit, and you know what I mean? Because I've had people and it's called re-exploiting when this happens, re-exploiting my trauma. You know, I share things all the time, and I'm going to continue to share things, you know, because just like her, you know, I've been, you know, had things done to me with knives. I've been buried alive. I've been pistol whipped. I've been thrown out of cars. You know, I was threatened to be thrown off of a bridge once, like, and that's why like bridges scare me. You know, I've got a lot of different things, you know, and like she said, like, just wanted to be normal, you know, and long before any of this stuff happened to me, like I would be told the same thing, like, you're gonna be a whore, just like your mother, you know, and I was the first one out of all my sisters that got into the adult industry. And I made it, you know, when you're poor like we are and shit like that. And I mean, at that time, I didn't tell people shit that was happening to me most of the time, but like I made money, and I wasn't the only one of my sisters that ended up in the adult industry. And you know, that's something that I struggle with sometimes, because I know that like I sold drugs and I got into the adult industry, and my sisters followed right behind me. I have a sister sitting in federal prison right now. I have a sister that was out, not for trafficking stuff, you know what I mean, for selling dope or whatever. But again, this is just, that was the norm in our family. That was the norm where we lived at. And when you're told that you're going to be all these things before you even know what any of this shit is, it's a lot, you know. I mean, I remember being younger and being told that, girl, you got a pot of gold between your legs. If you ever broke, you fucking stupid. You know what I mean? Those are conversations that happened. And not everybody likes when I tell my truth, but I, you know, and same thing with her, and same thing with other people that do it as well. Not everybody likes it, and some people want to poke fun at it and da 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 da. But I say that, you know, that's just the hurt parts in them. And so if that's what people get off on, is making fun of women like us or men like us that have been through shit, and want to judge, and you know, want to sit there and be like, oh, those fucking drunk addicts, those junkies, those whores, whatever. But at the end of the day, we're still God's children, and we are loved, and we are amazing. And baby, when we get out of this shit, honey, that's why we go so hard for what we do. And it's cost us some of our lives. You know, my sister Jennifer is no longer here, and there's not a day that goes by that I don't want to talk to her. She's got kids and stuff, and I can name so many other women, you know what I mean? But that's also the same reason those of us that are still here, we go so hard, you know, because we know the urgency. We understand that anything can happen. And so shout out to any of the fucking men and women that do the work, because you guys are fucking amazing. I just wanted to throw that in there. Go ahead, AC.
Whether it be for his gang or whatever he wants, like to put his name on you or some type of something, everybody knows like you're his bitch. He ended up going to prison for federal drug trafficking. I ended up going to prison for drug possession because I was his mule. So I started attending this group, and I never identified as a human trafficking victim. And like all these things that these abusers and traffickers are doing to their victims, I identified. Like it was like a light clicked on for me, and the fog was removed from my eyes, and I was able to make a choice. I was able to choose to live and not allow this to happen to me, and I empowered myself.
Sex trafficking survivors are often dismissed as criminals, addicts, and the homeless. Bigger still, prostitution is often seen as a life choice, but here in Columbus, those perceptions are slowly changing. We're here at the Franklin County Court, where they've spearheaded a new program which helps victims of sex.
Before we get into this, I want to say, so I met Holly, right? I got a phone call from some amazing survivor warriors, and was like, hey, we're meeting up in Columbus. There's a young lady named Alexa Martin, and she needs our help. And you guys hear me talk about sometimes I even marched in a blizzard. Well, it's me and Holly and Leslie and a bunch of other survivors. There was probably maybe, I don't know, 15 of us. And we, during a complete fucking blizzard storm in Ohio, it was, we were trying to get the governor or whoever to pardon Alexa Martin because she's a victim of human trafficking and she was imprisoned for some things she shouldn't have been in prison for because she is a victim and she was a minor victim when all of this happened. And so, so I had the pleasure of going up and Holly, you know, knew her from jail and stuff. And it was really amazing to be together and to be able to, there's something so powerful about meeting other women that have been through the shit that you've been through and then are on the other side of it helping. And so when we went up there, we all met. And like I said, it was a fucking snowstorm, but we were out there, you know what I mean? And we marched and we did our thing. And, you know, sometime later, she was actually granted and she was actually released out of prison. And so it's really amazing what survivors can do because we have this fire and we have this drive that, you know, a lot of people always say, you know, Summer, I'm worried about you. You just go, 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 go. You don't, you know, are you taking care of yourself? Are you, you know, and I am most of the time. And sometimes I burn out and sometimes I just go until I fucking crash. And I'm still trying to learn not to do that. But it happens, you know what I mean? And because again, you know, that urgency, you know, that if that victim that needs help right then and there, they may not get the help that they need, you know what I mean? If you wait or you prolong or you procrastinate. And so yeah, but I just wanted to say and shout out to her because she does amazing work. And I'm very proud of her. So, all right, go ahead.
This is why I love being able to help you. I love learning all this stuff.
Yeah, hopefully you guys are learning some stuff. I think, and that's why I picked this because I thought it was very powerful. I think it covered a lot of different things that people wonder about all the time. And who better to teach you all is some survivors and some non-survivors that are partnering together and making a difference. And this part coming up, you guys, is so fucking powerful. Do you hear me? And every one of these fucking courthouses need to take notes on this. Because the way they do this, and you're going to see it here in a second, is so freeing and so powerful and so amazing. And this fucking judge gets it. Because there's so many people that are in prison and will never, and some will die and never get a chance because people in society looks at us like we're the fucking problem. We're junkies, we're whores, we're this, we're that. You know what I mean? We're the outcasts, you know. And what's crazy is I don't understand how we're the bad people when it's the people that sell us and buy us that make the demand. You know what I mean? So it's like sometimes I feel like predators, it always falls on us. It always, it's that damn, you know, male or female, because I have male survivor brothers that are fucking amazing. And that's something that I think that still every single day mind boggles me is how people can hear the stories, hear the conversations, watch the documentaries, and still when they're around their friends or when, you know, something happens, it's that whore's fault, you know. And it's not, because the demand is what makes this keep going. If the demand, in my opinion, and I know some people are like, oh, traffickers are horrible, and they are, so don't you dare get it twisted of what I'm about to say. But if the Johns and the Tricks weren't there, the demand wouldn't be there. So it would put the trafficker out. And we're real comfortable as a society. And the Maxwell case up in New York, the Epstein/Maxwell case, proved that. Because those victims, you know what I mean? And people, yes, they were grown women, but they were kids when this shit happened. And the shit that I would see people say in these chats and these news things and stuff, I was just like, people still don't get it. And honestly, like the survivor community, I mean, a lot of us knew that nothing was really going to fucking come out of it. But at the same time, I can't tell you, there wasn't just a little glimpse of hope that I was like, maybe people will get it. But somehow it's the trafficker's fault. And we're real comfortable with being like, Epstein, you know what I mean? But like, it's the people that do this too. The demand, it's the people that are buying that are continuing this horrible fucking thing going on. And so, yes, if there are pimps that want to turn their life around, because I have a survivor brother that does fucking amazing, and he teaches these young kids and these young people so much amazing stuff, Ahmad. And, you know, sometimes people are products of their circumstances, not all the time, but sometimes, you know, and just like for survivors and victims, if there's, you know, people that want to turn their lives around, whether they're a trick or whether they're a pimp, and they, you know, and then they decide to, you know, get out and help people, to try to educate people and say, hey, this is what I did, and this is why I did it, and this is what I did to fix that, right? And so I am an advocate for all of that. I'm an advocate for healing for everybody. And that has taken me a lot of prayer and a lot of self-healing and self-worth to actually say that. But you know what? I mean, if I'm given a second chance, everybody deserves a second, third, you know, whatever, however long, how many times it takes. And not all survivors feel that way. You know, some survivors say, fuck that. You know, a pimp is a pimp, and we don't want him in our space, and we're not going to advocate, and I get that, and I respect that, right? But for me, I just feel like if we're going to ever get a hold of this problem, we have to attack every aspect of it. We have to educate and learn about traffickers and why they do the things that they do. And we also have to do the same thing with demand, because I can guarantee you, you might not know a victim and you might not know a trafficker, but I bet my fucking life you know a John. I bet my life on it. Let God strike me down where I'm at. Every single person watching this, I can guarantee you. You may not know you know a trick, but I can guarantee you do. Go ahead.
Sex trafficking, get back on the road to recovery.
I love this.
Roxanne.
Hi, Roxanne. Hi, guys.
Now look at the courtroom, how it's presented, everything. Pay attention.
I know about you.
Yeah. We're happy you're here.
Yeah. I'm not. I mean, I'm happy I'm here, but not here.
In a real courtroom, interaction with an inmate would never happen.
Let me tell you how special you are, right? I'm so proud of you for making your way here and saying, hey, I'm ready. You know, I mean, I'm just loving that right now.
This is Catch Court, a
It,
program
man.
that takes in women who have been jailed for prostitution or crimes committed for their trafficker. It then redefines them as victims and offers them a path to recovery.
Get some clean time under your belt.
Catch stands for changing actions to change habits. Melissa comes here and it's where Holly got her life back. Now it's her sister Rosie's turn. It's 2 years of intensive probation with a sober home, addiction treatment, and trauma therapy. Women must come here each week to check in. It's the brainchild of Judge Paul Herbert.
I was in arraignment court, which is a court where everyone who's in jail, and we set bonds on them. And they changed the law in domestic violence to where I had to see and hear every domestic violence case. I didn't like it at all because I had to hear all these horrible things. But I see these victims kind of lost, scared, and the betrayal. So this was going on.
Look at those beautiful women. God bless America. Look at those beautiful women. I love it.
And she looked exactly
those babies got freedom,
like
honey.
these victims of domestic violence.
Oh.
I'm like, why would I get that feel?
Thing.
You know, it's a prisoner.
Oh, right. Hey, I promise you, this is the way it needs to happen.
She had that same look about her and the same similar injuries. And I looked down.
Can I pause it just for a second? Pause it just for a second. The reason, and I'll let you speak in just a second. Hey, refuse to lose. This is okay. First of all, some people have never been in a courtroom, and I understand that. But when I tell you that this will not happen in most 99% of courtrooms in America, I promise you. And should it? 100% it should. That courtroom is packed with women that have went through this program, that are successful. They are doing their fucking thing, and they are inspiring. They're allowed to encourage the inmate that's standing there. And I just say inmate, but it's really a survivor. You know what I mean? But at that time, you know, it is what it is, you know, and they're encouraging her. They're letting her know what's up. And the judge, I mean, as soon as she came in, he's like, I'm proud of you. You're trying to make this decision and da-da-da-da-da-da. This is how courtrooms should be with victims. And that's why, for me, like, I love the whole fucking thing, but this, for me, if we could get more courtrooms, not even just for trafficking survivors, dude, like, to help people, because there are people that make mistakes and because of things that have happened to them, you know what I mean? This is just what happens. And we talked about this last night, AC, on the show that we were, you know, when everybody was discussing the Floyd situation or whatever. Like, people make mistakes. People in their past make mistakes or whatever, but you got court systems that are not helping people. They're not, you know, and that's what we were talking about, more like the prison stuff or whatever. How somebody was, Mayhem had said something like Sweden, they have like a 98 success non-return rate in their prison system. And it's because they're taking the time to rehabilitate people. And Ray said it best, you know, they say it's the corrections, right? Department of Corrections. They ain't correcting nobody. They're creating more toxicity. Think about being a person, an individual, and being trapped in a fucking cell, you know, a 5x5 for 23 hours of the 24 hours of the day. You know what I mean? And there's no help, there's no resources, there's no nothing. And yes, I do understand that people need to be punished. I get that, okay? But why just punish? I mean, don't people being away from their families and not being able to do shit, that's punishment. But why not also pour into them? I mean, the taxpayers are paying for the shit anyway. So why not have, and I commend this judge so much because, dude, I can promise you, and again, I'll bet my life on this, if we had more courtrooms like this, there'd be less victims, there'd be more people that are in for rehabilitation and getting the help that they need. You know what I mean? And so I don't think this needs to be just for trafficking victims. I think this needs to be in a lot of situations. And there are some cities that are doing like drug rehabilitation. They'll have drug court and shit like that. And I know that works. I've seen it work. I've went with women to court, you know what I mean? And seen it work, right? But at the same time, even taking that extra step of letting people that have overcome things come into the courtroom and encourage these women. When you all see this play out, it's fucking beautiful, you know? And I mean, imagine sitting there, you're so scared because trying to make that change to go to recovery or go into a program, dude, are you fucking kidding me? You want me to stop getting high on whatever it is or drinking, and you want me to feel every rape that happened to me. You want me to feel every beating that happened to me. You want me to feel every pistol that's been put to my fucking head and down my throat. That's what you want? Oh man, fuck that. I'd rather stay on the streets and get fucked up. You know what I mean? So having these women to sit there and encourage you, like even in my shelter, and that's why I'm so fucking mad right now that my shit's closed, because this shit is so important. It is fucking needed. It shouldn't be closed. Because when those women, we get a new woman to come into that house, they're not coming into a program. Welcome home. Welcome home. You know how sometimes people have not heard welcome home ever in their fucking life. They've never, from the time they came out of womb, didn't have a home. Just because you got four walls around you, that don't mean it's a home. And so situations like this and programs like this and programs like mine, dude, they're fucking essential to making our society a better place. And so when nuttin' ass motherfuckers do shit to attack shit like this and put these victims and shit in danger just because of their own selfish dumb shit, like in my situation, it's not okay and it's not cool. But at the end of the day, it works. This shit works. I watched so many women. I didn't have a fucking clue what I was doing, but I had people around me that did, and I knew what not to do. You know what I mean? So I winged it and I learned it. And I know that there's women, even women that are still struggling, they learned things being at our program that they would never learn. You know what I mean? They learned self-worth. They learned how to do all kinds of different things. And nothing's going to be easy. No one says because you go through a fucking program, everything's going to be fixed. No, we're just giving you the tools and walking and doing life with you. You know what I mean? So I'm very, very passionate on stuff like this. And that's why, I mean, all of this was beautiful in this whole documentary, but this shit right here, this is what you need to be going to your district attorneys and your judges and having conversations with them and saying, hey, you know what? We are not doing right by these fucking victims and we need to do better. That's the shit everybody can do. You need to go to your legislators. You need to go to your people in higher powers and shit, take this clip. I don't care. You know what I mean? Like we'll put the clip in the chat so people can have it. This is what works. And if we want solutions and we want things different and we want to stop creating predators, because that's all we're doing in some sense in the jail system. And again, I'm not one that's like, you know, unfortunately, jail's not, I don't think we need to put everybody in jail for all the shit we do. But yes, the jail's, unfortunately, we need some kind of something, you know, but if people do have to go in that, this is it, man. This is what it is. So it's a whole different life. I've been around, I've been in and out. of so many county jails and maximum security prisons to do interviews, but I could always walk out when my job was done 100%. And again, listen, there's some innocent people sitting in jail. There's no doubt about that. But man, I've been to jail. You know what I mean? Like, and when I went to jail I did the shit, right? So, but if you sit here and think about society's hard on you, everybody's judging, it's like, man, fuck it. I'm just going to stay a fuck up because, well, that's what everybody expects out of me any fucking way. You know what I mean? So we have to do better as a society. We have to clean our fucking language up. Sometimes I watch shows and I listen to comments and I listen to what people say and I'm just like, wow, and we just go, yes, Attorney General of your state, go to them. Go to them and say, this is what fucking works. On our Survivor Council before the pandemic happened in Kentucky, we are the first state that ever put a council together of victims of violent crimes. And we were able to, to do some things. And one of our missions, which I'm so fucking mad we didn't get to do, but it was, discussing how courtrooms can be more trauma informed. This is it. This is trauma informed. This is empowering, because even people that commit crimes and do stupid shit, whether they're victims or not, they deserve to know they can do better. And sometimes I know some of you all, got people to sit down and do homework with you, and mommy tucked you into bed and everything was great, but not everybody grows up like that. People need to know that they can do better. And when all their life, you've heard plenty of people in this documentary say, and myself, you'll hear me all the time, that's all they heard. And so when you're a child, and this is why we got to stop doing this shit too. Stop abusing these babies. Get your shit some fucking help. Reach out. Give that baby to somebody safe if you can't handle it, whatever. But we're destroying them by even, not showing up, talking crazy to them, like, whatever. And these are kids. We can't participate as a society. Even when I sit there and I'll see people on news and shit like that, they'll be like, oh, that little bastard deserved to die. What? And these are fucking adults talking about children, and we wonder why shit's so fucked up now. Like, we can do better, people. I promise you, we can do better. Go ahead, AC.
I'm going to say this now. This is a small freaking world.
If you know anybody, please don't say their names.
I won't say any. I don't know anyone. I know one person in that courtroom.
Well,
because I went to college. I went to college with his son.
Okay, so we're gonna leave it.
I know the judge.
AC, we're gonna leave it at that, babe, please. Because if their names are in this documentary, I don't want to put their names out, whoever they may be.
No, it's the judge.
Oh, okay. Well, that's different. I thought you were talking about one of the ladies. I'm like, oh, no.
I do not know one of the ladies. I went to college with his son at Ohio State. So
well, you need
to
call his son.
I didn't even know that. I did not know this.
Call his son if you're still in contact with him and tell him I think his fucking dad's amazing.
I will. Actually, what I will do, I will have him come to this spot in the video.
That would be awesome.
And let him hear, because his dad is trying to get feedback of what other people think, other than the ladies in that court. I
would love to talk to his dad.
Let me see if I can make that happen.
Yeah,
I'm not promising nothing, but yes, let me see what I can do.
I mean, I think I have to, if I had the opportunity to tell this judge that he's a fucking amazing, I would in a heartbeat, because he needs to know that he is setting a standard and he is changing so many different things. And listen again, and we're going to start this video after this or whatever, but these women, dude, look at their faces. They're free. They're in recovery. They came out of recovery and now encouraging other women. Like, dude, that's fucking beautiful, man. That's what it's all for, right there.
But that's why he didn't even tell me about this.
Oh, really?
His son didn't even tell me. And I was like, I seen his face and I heard his name. I was like, I know him. I was just shocked.
Yeah,
So-
no, you're good. The judge, I don't mind. I just didn't, because you said you were from there, and I mean, there could be people that recognize, but if their names aren't, as far as the women, if their names aren't out,
I don't know anyone that is showing on the screen right now.
Right.
And even
So
if
that
I
was my-
did,
that was my mistake.
I would have said no. But yeah,
Yep.
I know the actual judge. But let
Awesome.
me make some phone calls tomorrow, and you might actually have a sit-down interview with the man.
Hey,
Who knows?
I think I would. Oh my God, that would be amazing because he needs to know that he's changing lives even in other states. Like, you know what I mean? People that aren't, because again, and two, this, for women that are doing the work and been through it and shit, you're just, and when you're on this kind of path, it just makes you realize like you're where you're supposed to be. Let's play this beautiful boom footage.
How could a prostitute ever look like a domestic violence victim? I mean, now I look back and think that's dumb. And I found out some staggering statistics that the world has hidden from us.
Of over 1,000 women arrested for prostitution in Columbus, Judge Herbert found 900 of them were trafficking victims.
What do we have here? We have a new case of obstructing, a heinous obstructing official business.
Yes.
And then you're on probation, is it, for this other case?
Yes.
And so what you're basically saying is you want me to be your judge now.
Yes.
Is that true?
Yes.
But you don't know me very well, do you?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
From a long time
What's
ago.
my nickname?
I don't hear nickname.
Look, the girls are like,
I believe that prostitution is the most misunderstood criminal enterprise in America right now. It's supposed to be the world's oldest profession. So I believe that it's really the world's oldest oppression of women and girls and other vulnerable populations. You don't need chains like the movies. You're giving them a cell phone. You know where they are. You're controlling their every movement. You mix in physical and sexual violence. It's like prisoner of war tactics.
Funds for catch are limited, so before they can be accepted,
Can you
women
pause
must
that for
show
1
their
second?
willingness to change.
I don't want anybody to get offended because I know we have a lot of military people, but in the last couple of days, you've also heard me talk about this. So researchers and studies and stuff like that have happened, and they can take a prisoner of war, they can take a military person that's been through some very serious things, and they can take a human trafficking person and put the brains together, and they don't look much different. And so that's why he says it's like being a prisoner of war, because even though you may not be in an actual war, you are in actual war. You're in a war of evil. So go ahead. Sorry about that.
And I am going to do something because I do think Catch does have where you can donate to them. I honestly do think they do have that, but I'm looking for it. If they do, and anyone in the audience, in the chat, would like to donate to them, you can donate, please do so. Help these women out.
Yeah,
I don't have a whole lot of money right now, or I would donate, but I think I might make a phone call, see what my friend can do for me. Maybe maybe my friend can help me out with this. But yes.
Yeah, most definitely. I would like that added to the stream. That way people, because it's programs like these. Listen, let me tell you something. I can tell you firsthand. What's up, Courtney? So we are just going over a human trafficking documentary that some survivors I know made it, and it's got some amazing things. And right now, the part that we're entering in is the criminal aspect, the courtroom aspect. And this judge, I mean, do you see the body language with this judge? He's not being real uptight. He's kind of, and he's making a couple little jokes because he wants to. People like me are scared of people in power. You know what I mean? And because one, again, like I said, and like me and Rufu said, like there's a lot of people in power that position and stuff like this. And so for him to recognize the triggers of, all the stuff she's been through, and recognize the triggers that courtrooms and judges and police officers and all that shit can give you, you know what I mean? Because, and I don't know her story, but I can guarantee you this isn't the first time. I'm sure she got arrested plenty of times and probably wasn't treated that great, and so again, I love this. Okay, you can push play.
Change.
Why don't you tell me, why you want to be in the catch court, if you don't mind?
Well, because first off, my sister Kim told me how great it was. I was coming with Safe Harbor House.
Over in Springfield.
Yes.
And
then
listen, if
there I am
survivors say
all
the
my
program's
time.
good, then you're good.
I said, well, that's how I got to start with my clean time and my new life. And I just want to get back to that again.
And guess what? I'm going to accept you in the catch court.
This, by all means, is an unconventional court, allowing women to empower and support one another.
100% feisty,
I
Mom.
have the gavel and the robe, and I get court started, and I do the legal things. But then I sort of step back and let the women help heal each other. Tell her, like, what's the secret to success there? Put her on the right path, okay? So I think you'll be seeing her soon. So, like, help her out.
It's a pretty structured environment, but for a lot of us, that's what we need. For real, we don't have to worry about food. We don't have to worry about a place to lay. We have a really nice house. It's beautiful. You know, we have an area out back with tables and swings, and it's really a nice place, and they really care about you. And we love you.
You're going to get mad, and you're going to want to leave.
Yep.
And all I can say is any of us at any given time are here for you.
Absolutely.
Because since you signed those papers, you are now officially our sister. And we are going to love you until you absolutely love yourself.
Absolutely.
Coming into the catch court has allowed me to open up, trust the judge, trust catch staff. You know what I mean? Because that misconception that they're out to get me, or if I mess up, if I'm not perfect, that I'm going to go to jail. I remember what it felt like to leave and go back out there in the streets and go back to that old stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, I got to get out of this. I got to get back to this program.
I'm going to be your official welcome committee. And I'm going to welcome you so good.
By the time the handcuffs come off, we're hoping that she looks forward to coming to court and being part of that camaraderie and that squad.
Strict rules apply with no contact
Yeah,
with people
it's
who
beautiful.
are a bad influence.
This is
And
beautiful.
so they're placed in a sober home away from their trafficker.
I have almost 8 months clean.
Treatment for drug use and trauma is
And
rigorous.
look, he's now
A
sitting
woman
with the
is
girls,
using
and they're
drugs
celebrating.
to medicate her trauma. Once you settle that trauma down, they don't want to use drugs anymore. The trauma
right.
is at the root of their
Yep.
drug addiction, rather than
That's right.
their drug addiction is driving everything.
Nice to see you. I'll be seeing you all soon, I hope.
Roxanne will also be offered a job. Catch teams up with a catering company which only employs survivors of sex trafficking. It's very difficult for women with a criminal record to find a job, so this scheme will play a key part in Roxanne's rehabilitation. For any brandings on her body, she can access Survivors Inc. and now a clinic
It's
that
my sister's
completely
program.
removes tattoos. This woman put it to the test.
In 2 months, I'll have to go back and they'll just get what they missed. But it's really simple and it's not very painful. I'm 50 years old and I'm trying to present myself in a different way now. And it was a struggle for me, you know, like I have this big, ugly reminder of my past, but then do I just get a bigger tattoo to cover it up, you know? So I was really grateful for the opportunity to be able to do this. I could just erase my past and I don't have to worry about it.
Barb, that is like deep stuff, girl.
There's proof the program is working. While the national average of recommitting crimes is 80%, Catch Court's rate is less than 30%, saving state money and, more importantly, saving lives. Slowly, other states like Indiana and Illinois are taking notice. Judge Herbert's model has also been adopted by 3 other cities in Ohio.
Hopefully we can get it in our courtrooms.
For a taster of the situation on the ground, I'm joining Holly and her volunteers. They've been handing out care packages to possible sex trafficking victims for the past 4 years.
How many boxes have you got here then?
4 boxes. We've got like
Okay.
19 bags, probably like 20 plus lunches.
Could you give me a sense of like what we've got in these
Sure, we can
care
open them up.
packages?
A little snack, peanut butter and jelly sandwich, some fresh carrots. Let's see what else is in here. Ooh, nice, a Cheryl's cookie. Then we have our hiking bags. Toothbrush, toothpaste, hand cream, condoms, those are a big necessity. Sometimes these are the most expensive thing on the item list.
Right.
Deodorant, comb, feminine hygiene products. We've been pretty successful in people supporting us because we haven't missed a Sunday in almost 4 years.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
Every Sunday.
Every Sunday, no matter what, 6 o'clock, we're out.
And I see you're joined by a sister now as well.
Absolutely. We're matching today.
Yeah, you are. I love
prepared
the
for this
outfits.
today.
Yeah, you
We're
both look beautiful.
Yeah. Let's do it.
So tell me about the area that we're going around today then.
A lot of the houses are like depleted homes. I would say you would find a drug house on every corner, if not 2 or 3 on every corner. Brothels or houses where women are trafficked out of. Hey, would you like a hygiene bag and a lunch? It's kind of hot out here today, right? There's a water in there and some snacks and stuff. Be safe, okay? No
Over the years, the group has seen an increase in women out here. There could be any number of reasons for that. What is known is that the closure of motels linked to sex trafficking has moved the problem elsewhere. On top of that, the Columbus Vice Unit in charge of prostitution is being reorganized. It disbanded earlier this year after an officer was found blackmailing women for sex. All this means is that there are
That
fewer
also
cops in
has
the
helped
streets dealing
happened
with
here
the
in
problem.
Louisville, Kentucky. There's been officers in trouble for that.
Here's lunches. Huh? Will you hand one to her? One of those are for her. And then, oh, you want the little notebook one? Ooh, this has got some Bath and Body Works stuff in there. How are you doing? I miss you. I have lost a lot of weight. Be safe. I love you. Bye, guys. She's been through a lot. She's transgender as well. So if she's picked up and somebody realizes this, she's raped her, beat her, thrown her out somewhere far away. I have a soft spot in my heart for her because we were out here together for quite some time and we helped each other like through our tough times. Like we cried with each other, we've showered with each other, like her trying to hurry and get ready, like so we can get out in time. It's just we've been through a lot together.
How does it feel for you to have recovered and still see her out here?
It's really hard to walk away. Yeah. Like I wish I could put her in the car and take her with me, but I know that that's not realistic right now. Not until she's ready. Not until something changes for her.
This is but a snapshot of how women are sold. Now it's all online. Last year, the FBI shut down Backpage.com, which became a notorious marketplace for sex trafficking. But the problem just moves elsewhere. You can find the women on escort services, social media.
Can you pause it just for a second?
Even in the newspapers.
So I definitely want to touch this for a second. So many of you probably remember when Backpage was, I hate this. I don't like the camera shot that way. All right, there we go. You might have remembered when Backpage was taken down. There was a whole thing, a situation about it and everything. And I remember when people first, like here locally, because the prosecutor and stuff that helped do all that, he came down here and we were able to meet him. There was tons and tons and tons of people that were involved in getting this, Backpage taken down or whatever. And I remember when everything happened, a lot of the news people reached out to me. I was like, so Summer, because that's what they do. They'll be like, so what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And I'll give my opinion. And as happy as I know a lot of people were about Backpage coming down, it's like a double-edged sword, right? Because the one thing about Backpage is that you could see the fluctuations. So like when there was a sporting event, a convention or whatever, where people would travel, sometimes you would be able to kind of keep an eye on victims and, get them help if they need to or anything like that. There's a lot of reasons why people, it made the work a little bit harder because then there was a lot of other places people were going to. Internet is a big thing. I mean, the tracks and the blades still definitely very much so exist in all cities, in all places. Hotels, spas, apartments, houses, anything like that can be used. Businesses, nail salons, restaurants, like anything can be used for it. And so when they closed Backpage, as many as of us was happy about it, about Backpage coming down, at the same time, it was hard because, I mean, you could check in and you could be like, okay, well, such and such might be working tonight. So let me go check on her and make sure she's okay. And over time, people, I mean, as soon as one thing goes down, 5 billion come up, you know. And so, and again, that's why I talk about the demand. You will hear me talk about the demand a lot. Yes, traffickers are bad. I get it. I'm not co-signing their shit. But again, without the trick, without the demand, without the John, without the person buying, that right there would put the girl and the trick out, or the pimp out, you know. So yeah, tricks need to be held more accountable. Go ahead.
And I hate to say this, I actually think it's ran through the Franklin County justice system, through the courts themselves. So
oh yeah,
that's why
anything can be used.
But I cannot find anything where you could donate to them, because that's what I've been looking for. But
you talking about for the program?
Yeah, the catch
okay.
is actually a part of the county budget.
Right, it's a federally funded program, and that's a
Yeah.
good thing because they're getting the resources that they need. Probably what you could do, well, you know, I can look into later or whatever. You know, you can donate to homes, you know, in Ohio that are doing stuff. You know what I mean? Like, because those places, yes, the catch is through the courts and everything, but those women have to go to homes. And some get a lot of funding. Go ahead.
I found a lawyer that actually helped with catch.
Right.
She actually helped with catch. So you might be able to donate funds to her and say, I want
no,
you
that's
to
not the way. That's not the way it works. So it being a funded federal program, more than likely, if you want to donate something to affect that, the lawyers and everything like that, I'm sure through the federal grants, because that's how all this kind of stuff is ran, for people that do them. Like, I don't take federal grants, right? Because it's a lot of fucking red tape. But they, you know, it can be good. And so, but I know people that do the homes, like the recovery houses and different stuff like that in Ohio, which don't go digging around finding that, you know what I mean? But if you just happen to hear about it, or if you're in Ohio, you know, or you can donate to a program that you may know about. And you know what I mean? Because even if you don't donate to Catch, because Catch is a funded program, there's tons of people in the city, in the state, in this world that is doing the work, and you can donate to donate to them in honor of, you know, the Catch program. So if we find anything where people can donate more, you know, we'll let you know. But more than likely, and that's what I was figuring. I was figuring, because it's with the courts and shit. It's a federally funded program, and so even the houses that they use, they may also cover that, you know. And again, that's why sometimes it makes it easy when you do federal stuff. I don't do that because I don't have the team to write all that stuff, and I don't know how to do it. So, and again, it's a lot of red tape, and it's a lot, not that I'm doing anything wrong or anything like that, but it's a lot. Federal grants are a lot. And if I had some, you know, people around me that knew how to do that, maybe, but right now, my organization and most grassroots organizations that do this, and probably some of the houses that are connected that help the women with Catch, they're probably funded privately, you know, and with, you know, some grants and stuff. But yeah, you can definitely donate to you can donate to a charity in your community that maybe does the work in honor of Catch. I think that would be an amazing thing, you know.
And you can probably look up lawyers that are if there are lawyers in this, where you can donate to help with them getting into the program. Because some lawyers actually, because there are nonprofit lawyer groups that are probably a part of Catch that I can't find right now, because we are in the middle of a documentary. But if you live in the Columbus area, or if you work in the Columbus area, like Refuse to Lose, maybe you can, in Ohio, you can, because there are, like they said, I would love to see that down. I'm gonna have to talk to some people down here, because I know a lot of people here.
The best people to talk to in a situation, and you know, my paralegal said, you know, I say my paralegal, like I don't, but our beautiful, I forget names, Refuse to Lose. Fuck was I going to say? I don't know. I just left my complete brain. I actually read Unknown's thing. He said, I work on federal grants and it's a challenge when you haven't worked it. Yeah, it is. But you know, you can, oh, I know what I was gonna say. Go to your attorney general. Like, so, okay, Andy Beshear, which is our governor now, Andy Beshear is fucking amazing when it comes to the fight of anti-human trafficking. And when he was the attorney general, he's the one, he started the first council. There's a lot of different things. And we had more arrests in human trafficking when he was in office than I can think of right now. And yeah, I don't like Daniel Cameron, but he's still the AG, and he's doing some stuff. I wish he'd be doing more, to be honest with you. But he's not. But he is doing some stuff. But you want your attorney general to get survivors involved. You want them to look at stuff like this and bring stuff like this to their cities, because I'm telling you guys, this is the fucking game changer. This is, you know, we will have less people dead. We will have more people free. You know what I mean? So go to your attorney generals, go and meet with them, go and talk to them. We will make sure that this clip to this documentary is on the outside of the comments, just in case YouTube does you can't see the live comments. I don't know why they do that. I never do that, but sometimes on some of my videos you can see them and some of them you can't. And so I'll make sure that I post them on the outside of the video, and you know, take the video and say, listen, talk about the program, research the program, you know what I mean, on your own accord. And go talk to your attorney generals, and you know, everybody's got something they can do. You ain't got to be on the streets. You ain't got to be in the shelters, but you know, you could do shit like this. Maybe this is your thing. Maybe you know some legislation, some laws, some attorney generals, some people, and don't talk to them just once, because you know, they'll gaslight you no matter how good they are, right? Especially the first couple times. Be very consistent and show them facts and show them things that work. And this is definitely something that works, you know? And so, and no one said mine are more financial and education based though. Yeah. And housing is like, I know a friend of mine, and she's an amazing chick, and she has an amazing team of people around her. And she's been trying to open the first minors home for trafficking here in the state of Kentucky. And when I say this woman is like fucking all the way straight line and everything, like, and even she's like, this shit's crazy, dude. You know, I mean, it's needed, but you know, the reason why, and I'm glad that there's a lot of regulations, especially around minors, because you know, people, it just can't just anybody open a home. Unfortunately, in a lot of places, a lot of people can just open a home, not for minors, but for adults. And even that, because, you know, one thing that pisses me off, I see re-exploitation in these homes. There are homes, and I have helped close one. There are places that sit here and fucking re-exploit their women. They re-traumatize their women. They victimize their women or men. Sorry, y'all, I say women a lot because I'm a chick, but you know, they're creating more problems than they are solving. And I don't care if you're a survivor. I don't care if you're a non-survivor. They don't give you a fucking pass to hurt women and men that have already been through fucking the worst shit that could ever happen. You know what I mean? So survivor or no survivor, you fucking re-exploit victims, I'm coming for your fucking neck. And they will. Go ahead. I'm just reading.
I am about to put the website that is on the Franklin County site.
Okay.
Courthouse site. They do have where you can go and read certain things about catch.
Awesome.
And the catch court. So I just put that into the chat. That's what I was doing, because I think this is a perfect example of when people come together, what can be done.
Yeah, and you know, and it's 100%. And you know, I mean, and I just look at this, and you know, like the other night, like I said, it completely caught me off guard, because I don't remember, you know, I know I watched it, but with my TBI and shit like that, like I didn't remember watching it. And so when I came across it the other night, and you know, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna keep on bragging about my sis Jennifer Kimpton. Like, to know that she's been dead for a little bit now, a couple years now, more than just a couple, but her legacy still lives on, man. Like, she's still, you know what I mean? Like, even in that courtroom, they're like, yeah, you know, they partnered with Survivors Inc. That's what it is. It's empowering survivor-led programs. It's empowering victims to become survivors, to become warriors. It's praising the court system when they are actually fucking doing something right. I know we don't have these conversations that much, but dude, you guys are witnessing it. I mean, this is really what's going on. And I can say that it's actually really what's going on because I know the women that helped make this shit happen. One is no longer here and the others are still up there kicking fucking ass. You know what I mean? So I know that this isn't just some gaslighting bullshit that they're trying to feed to us so they can whatever, right? No. Baby,
And
this is real.
Summer, I'm still on the website. The success numbers. I know most people will not be impressed with these numbers, but you and me, listen to this. 80% national recidivism for women in prostitution. Recidivism rate for all women who have been in catch, 45%. Recidivism rate for catch graduates, 18%.
Yep, that's amazing.
Graduation among participants, 25%. Women who have successfully graduated to date, 69 women have. Now that, I mean, most people will not understand.
That's a fucking
One
miracle.
out of every four actually graduates the program. So that's about 300. Let's say about 300.
Yeah.
Think about that.
That's amazing.
That's an amazing. Because,
and they're in that process, right? And I can speak on this because I run a home. You know what I mean? We might be close at the moment, but I worked 5 years before anything happened, and we were open. And you know what I mean? That's 300 generational curses broke. That's 300 healthy babies. That's 300 marriages. That's 300 fucking jobs. That's 300 productive people in the citizen. You know what I mean? Like that is 300 shots of fucking hope. You know what I mean? Like, so, and that's just when that was done, right? Ain't no telling when they're going to update it. And, you know, and look, like we always say, if we help one person, every single thing I've been through has been worth it. I know that these women and many others, you know, of us have already helped way more. And more than well, not more, because helping the women and watching them succeed trumps anything, but also educating the community and getting people to understand, because maybe, you know, before this show, some people just didn't understand certain things. And this show, and I can tell you things all day, but this I like it because they're laying it out, they're showing it, they're giving you facts, they're giving you success stories. And look, we also know that just as many success stories, the rate of deceased and you know, whatever, but even I look at it this way, and this is just me, and I get it. Some people are like, you shouldn't have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chances. It should, you get it and fucking move on. But that's not the way life works. And I feel like as long as even people that maybe didn't graduate and shit, there's seeds that are planted. I can promise you that. There are women still to this day. I just had one of my girls reach out to me and was like, Miss Summer, is Esther's house back open yet? You know what I mean? And I had to tell her, like, no, it's not right now, babe. I'm sorry. But, and it shouldn't be like that. And it's not closed because I did anything wrong. It's closed because I have fucking people thinking that making fun or putting a target on that house is, you know, fun for entertainment. And so I shut my doors because I will never, under no circumstances, not for clout, not for donations or any fucking thing else, ever put a victim in harm's way. And so we moved them to somewhere safe, and they're doing great, amazing, and eventually we'll open our doors back up. But yeah, places like this and places like what they're doing is fucking important. And it is, it is, you know, we're all sitting around the table and we're banging our fist on the table and all this other shit, but like there's shit that's working. No one's just talking about it because we're not used to the system, seeing the system do something positive. And we're not used to, you know, seeing the underdogs win. But it's okay. The underdogs can win, and we need to lift that up, and we need to stop all the fucking unnecessary stupid ass drama that goes on these platforms, on all. And we need to focus on trying to get people freedom and trying to get people help and trying to get people all this, because we can all type and make conversations on, hey, we hate trafficking. Hey, we hate child abuse. Hey, protect children. But you know what? A lot of motherfuckers sit around and talk about drama and don't ever do a motherfucking thing to help a victim. And so stop talking shit and be about some action. And everybody can do it. And even action on the internet by saying, hey, you know what? I seen this thing in Ohio, this program, and, you know, talking to your friends, letting people know there is a courtroom in Columbus, Ohio, and this judge fucking gets it. And that's what matters, dude. Because, you know, when you watch a woman that's been through hell have a beautiful, healthy baby, and you're in the room and that baby's coming out and you touching that head, I've been in so many rooms where babies were born, or where you're sitting at a wedding and you're watching the person finally find love because they finally healed enough to be able to trust just one more person. Or women when they buy their first home or start their first business. Like, that's what I've been able to be a part of. And it ain't about me. It ain't Summer Dickerson did that shit. Those women did that. And it's just as many success stories. I go to funerals every week. I sit with families that they have no idea where their child is. We have to stop being the fucking oppressing system. And that even means with nonsense fucking drama. If you know shit's going on, get it fucking shut down.
And
educate
I think
people, support people. Go ahead, AC.
And I think the judge that started Catch is retired, because I'll have to talk to him, because it says Jody L. Thomas is the judge of Catch. So,
right, but I would like to. He started it, you know what I mean, and so
yeah.
that would be. And you know what? In all honesty, like, I could probably call one of my friends up there and be like, "Hey, hook me up with this judge." You know what I mean? But I just would like to, you know, him to know, and if whether I do or whether I don't ever talk to him, you know what I mean, he knows he's making a difference. And I really hope this inspires people, because, and we're not even done yet with the video, but I really hope it inspires people to go, damn, dude, yeah, the system's fucked. It is. But it's people that finally, and you hear what he said, he started this because he was made to start hearing domestic violence cases, because at one point in time they did not hear domestic violence cases. And so he had to listen to every single case. And you know what's crazy is my friend, and I will call her my friend because she's fucking amazing, she's a big time used to be a big time prosecutor, and she's pretty big in the whole government thing, right? And so, you know, I remember when me and her met, and we've done so many trainings together, and she'd be like, I remember when I was a domestic violence prosecutor, and like there was a victim that, you know, had her head shaved and all this other stuff, and she goes now, and she says this even during her trainings, and I respect her for that, because she's owning the part where she missed it. And I don't want to say she dropped the ball. It's just, it looks so, everything, you know, you got to really know what the hell you're looking at sometimes. But and now she's one of the biggest advocates in our fucking state, and make sure, and helps making sure things get, you know, people get prosecuted and things that need to be done to protect victims or protect survivors. You know what I mean? Like, she does that. And so I love her to death. She's my girl gang. Without saying a name, she knows who I am, just in case she sees this video, or she knows who she is by me saying girl gang. But yeah, man, it's shit like that. It's people that, and so when people are like, oh, you're around these fucking politicians, woo woo woo. No, I'm around them because I want them to fucking hear me. The people, these legislators and these judges and even these lawyers, they see these cases and they see these people, you know, they look at the black and white, but they don't see us. They look past us. They don't understand that we're somebody's mother, we're somebody's daughter. Like, I'm somebody. And so going and around these politicians, you know what I mean? I've been able to get them to see me. And not just me, but, and not just my trauma, but like hearing like the solution aspect of things. Because we can talk about the trauma aspect all day long. And yes, there needs to be more done, but like the system, the courts and shit, like, dude, and people making laws and shit, like, they got to understand and hear from fucking people, real people, not people, you know, because It sucks having a fucking judge that never experienced anything you've ever been through, much less probably not even child abuse or sexual assault or anything, but damn sure not trafficking. And they stand there and they look at you and they think they know you, or people in society, they think they know you. You might come on here and you might, oh, that junkie ass bitch or whatever, you know, to me, you don't know me. I'm a person. And that's why I do the work that I do, because people need to see people like me. People need to understand, and they need to stop with their judgmental bullshit, because you're creating victims. Ooh, people probably didn't understand that. When people sit there and judge and they don't try to understand and don't have a little bit of empathy, yeah, you're helping create victims. Because that person around you that maybe not told you they're trafficking or sexual assault or whatever, but they hear you talking about shit and they hear you making the inappropriate jokes. They see the dumb shit you say and write. They may never tell you, and they probably never will, because you are no longer a safe person, because you thought it was cute to hang out with your friends and make a fucking joke and didn't even realize somebody right there was probably needing your help. That happens a lot. And so I'm not trying to, and please don't anybody take me as a bitch, like, hear what I'm saying. Because there's many people in this world just like me that walk around every day and are never fucking seen. And we got to do better. And so, yeah, I salute this judge, and I salute the women that survive, and I salute the people that are tuning in. Because the people that are watching and listening with an open heart, they want change. And they're going to be the change. You know, and it's just, it sucks, dude. And some of the shit's so unbelievable. You'd be like, oh, no, there ain't no way that happened. That bitch is, or he's lying or whatever. Yeah, man. Actually, the more unbelievable is, I promise you, it's more fucking truer than you will ever understand. You know, and so we all can do something. And even if you don't hang out with politicians or make your, dude, work, that's the people's office. Make an appointment, call them, get in their face, talk. And even if you're not a, you know, you don't have to be a victim of trafficking to do something. So I love all the people that are like, man, fuck this shit. I hate human trafficking. Da, 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 da. But what are you doing more than just bitching about it on the internet? Yeah, I'm that chick. I'm going to ask those questions, because griping about it on the internet, yeah, that's great and everything. But like, what are we doing? Are we getting involved? Like we have veterans and we have bikers and shit like that. Like Bikers Against Trafficking, Bikers Against Child Abuse. You know what I mean? Veterans Against Trafficking. These people are amazing. They go to court with victims. They'll stand outside children's homes that are being abused and shit. Like, what are we doing? There's any and everything you can do. You can mail letters. You can call. You can volunteer. You can have a conversation. So I will reach out. I will research and reach out to see what resources I can find, whatever working can be implemented. 100%. And, you know, and listen, sometimes people are scared to make change because, you know, the good old boy system has worked for so long. But one thing, whether people like 2020 or not, and any element of 2020 or 2021, what it did is it did make some change, and it got some people to pay attention. And so we will be fucking idiots if we miss this opportunity, because we're so busy arguing with each other. We didn't all put these works in, no matter what side of the fence you stand on, all the shit that happened in 2020 and 2021. Stop with the fucking bullshit and let's do the work. Okay, sorry. Go ahead, Macy.
And I'm going to say this now. I'm looking into the judge. He retired in 2020 from the actual catch court.
Right.
And one of the people that worked under him, actually in 2020, she wanted to start a drop-in center for survivors. So I'm looking at just going off the judge's name, I've found other things. So we might have some resources up in that area where maybe we can get them to come on here and actually talk about what's going on.
And drop-in centers, for those that don't know what a drop-in center can be a lobby, a drop-in center can be any space. You want a drop-in center to be in a space that there might be some trafficking going on. There might be a prostitution, track or whatever. And why drop-in centers are so fucking important. My friend, Frida Hope, Amy Leonards, this chick, You know, we don't always meet eye to eye on every single thing, but I will not take away from the work that she always does. You know, she meets the women where they're at, and me and Herb went out on outreach. I mean, shit, we used to help each other all the time, you know, and the drop-in centers, it really meets people where they're at. It can provide a hot meal, like a shower. It can wash people's clothes. It can have resources for legal, like say somebody's caught up in some legal actions and they need like paralegal, or maybe they need like resources to the clinic, or maybe they need resources because like we have a needle exchange program here, all the different aspects, right? Like there's just resources. And then there's just community. The girls, you know, I think she opens up at like 11 or 12, something like that. It's been a while since I've been there. But 11 to 12 to like 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon, and they can come in, they do coloring books, they do painting, they do, you know, some people can do some therapy. And again, it's building that relationship. It's meeting people where they're at, right? And so when you do things like that, it makes it just makes it successful. And you know, we don't always do every single thing right here in Louisville, but I will say, or even in Kentucky, or even in this world, but I am proud of my state because, and a lot had to do with Andy Bashir, and I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks about him. The mountains I seen that man, which our attorney general, now governor, and I still do, you know, still do work and everything. Like, and I remember him and his wife like literally came to our shelter when I opened it up. You know what I mean? Like, and he was just really cool. I got to stand and sign a declaration when they signed it or whatever. I got to be right there. And a lot of the people, you know what I mean? I don't know. It's kind of cool. I got the first pin. So I was like, yay. But January 10th is Human Trafficking Day all over the nation. But in Kentucky, you know, because of our governor, January 10th or January is Anti-Human Trafficking Month. And so all month in our state, there's rallies, there's conferences, there's educational pieces, there's just all kinds of different things. We have programs like Refuge for Women. We have just all these amazing programs that are center-based and they help. And even some programs that, you know what I mean, maybe ain't always done shit right because we got to learn. Even them, they're learning and helping now in some situations. So, you know, it's about doing the work. It's about getting the right people that do the work. It's having the right heart to do the work. And it's about the community being transparent and open to the work. Because, you know, people want to deny and say this shit ain't happening. I can guarantee you, I can come to your city and I can find it. It's like I have a fucking magnet. It's so weird. It's kind of fucking, but I went to a speaking thing, and then I'm going to start the video because we're already at almost 3 hours. But
I know.
Me and my husband went to, but this is a good video. So me and my husband went, I had to go somewhere speak or whatever, and we weren't gonna stay overnight, but then we ended up staying overnight. We stopped at this hotel, and as soon as we pulled in the parking lot, my fucking little spider senses was like, meh, meh, meh. And I was like, he's like, what? It's, you know, it's a decent hotel. I was like, yeah, I don't know. It's a Summit right here. I was like, there's just a couple things I was already peeping out. Being a call girl and working hotels, I mean, we stayed in a place and we called it the dorms because there was a bunch of girls that stayed there, and we got pimped out or whatever. But anyway, so I recognized it, and sure enough, yeah, there was trafficking going on there, you know. So yeah. Anyway, go ahead, start the video. I could talk all day about this shit.
Local classifieds.
You want a hygiene bag and lunch? I haven't seen you in a long time.
We saw several women wandering up and down these streets looking heavily sedated by drugs.
She's probably been up for a few days without sleep, maybe like 2 or 3, and that's why she's moving around like that.
Okay.
She's probably on crack and heroin. Did you see? I seen track marks on her arm.
Beyond these impoverished areas, trafficking still happens, but it looks different. Women are usually kept indoors. Hotels and casinos are magnets for activity, especially during major sports events.
Friend, I seen you, and you know I have to come back. I love you, friend. How are you? You look beautiful. You're beautiful. Look who's in the back.
Hi, Rosie.
Check that out, right?
Oh, that's so cool.
Isn't it crazy? Please, you look tired, friend. You tired?
Yeah.
Please be careful. I love you.
Be safe. I love you.
Isn't she? She's always so happy. But like even in hard times, you got to keep a smile on your face, you know?
That's right.
How long have you known her for?
Oh God,
We're
10
perfect
years.
at masking
Really?
Oh
babies.
yeah, a long time. It's really hard to walk away. Not just her, a lot of them. Like, because I know what it's like to be desolate.
Yep.
I know what it's like to feel hopeless.
I was surprised to see how many women were out here. It seemed disproportionate to Columbus's relatively small population of fewer than 900,000 people. But what was more surprising was how young many of them looked.
I did have lunches, but I ran out of lunches. Oh, I love your little star. You're beautiful. That girl was maybe like 16 or 17. She didn't look very old. Just teenagers.
When these girls are brought in, what would you say is the average amount of time in terms of months or years that they're kept in that life?
Sometimes it doesn't end.
Right.
Sometimes you die out here.
Yep. Most die out there. We are not the majority of the survivors. There's
Sex
way more people
trafficking
that
is
die
the most
than
common form of human trafficking,
unfortunately.
and it's highly lucrative. Worldwide, it pulls in $100 billion a year and ensnares 4.8 million people. But what makes a trafficker and what draws them to an industry that exploits and creates further suffering? We've come to an Ohio prison to find out.
Jeffrey Bagley has been sentenced to 10 years. He ran a really prolific sex trafficking ring. So it'd be really fascinating to see what he has to say and why he's agreed to do this interview.
After a 17-month investigation, Jeffrey Bagley was convicted in April 2019 alongside another man, Curtis Gossett. They trafficked dozens of women using drugs to control them.
I worked for Curtis Construction Company and was just getting paid in drugs with a free house to live in, you know. And then that's when he came to me and asked me if I wanted to change jobs. And I was like, yeah, what do I got to do? And all I had to do was just drive a female to out calls to hotels or whatever and make sure she was safe. And then that's pretty much when it all started.
It was easy for the men to recruit the women almost directly from jail.
There's a magazine that comes out you can buy at the corner stores that has people go to jail for that week and what their charges are. And if any of them were soliciting, you know, we would send them to the jail and I'd talk to them and ask them if they wanted to come work for us, and we would bond them out. So that's where the recruiting from the jails came in at.
So how much money were these women making you?
Each girl would be like anywhere from $1,000 to $1,500 a day, each girl.
Wow.
And that's
and how many clients would they be seeing on average every day?
Well, in the beginning, when I was there driving some of them to their calls, we had a couple girls that would see 3 or 4 a day.
So in what range then? So from 3 or 4 to
12. Within about a year, it got really big, where we had seen almost about $750,000, like quick. In 2017, I made $450,000 myself. I would never make that anywhere else.
But you're dealing with humans. You're not dealing
Right.
with just money coming in and out. I mean, that could have been your daughter. You make it sound so transactional, which I'm a little astounded by, I guess. Do you understand that kind of reaction that I have?
Kind of. I mean, that's just how it was for so long. It was just normal. That was just normal.
Were you sorry that you got caught, or were you sorry for what happened?
I mean, yeah, I'm sorry I got caught, because, man, my kids was being taken care of very, very well, Now I'm in here and it's over. I can't do nothing now at all. They get $4.50 a month now. That's it.
Do you have any remorse for what you did to the women?
Yeah and no, but because I was, pretty much in the same boat they was in, I was getting high just like they were, and I did for the drugs, just like they did, because they wouldn't be, you know, selling themselves if they wasn't, you know, on drugs themselves. So
That's not true. Not every woman that sells herself
no,
is on
really.
drugs.
You know, I really
Most
thought
are,
about that.
but not all.
Jen is getting her right leg inked. It's the last visible reminder of her troubled past. Under what will be a colourful lighthouse are scars from nearly losing her leg to drug use while being trafficked.
Ooh, I know that hurts. I
The
got a
person
huge leg piece.
I was with for a few months. He got 200 years because he was doing it to other girls in a few different states.
Jen had several brandings across her body. The worst was on her back.
I've seen a lot of stuff, but I've never had an existing tattoo make my heart sink. And that one did it. You ready?
Yep.
All right, this is one of those long lines, okay?
Okay. Oh my gosh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
To make more money, I guess, he decided to put 2 devils having sex on my back. Thought it would be funny, thought it would be cute. So I had devils on each shoulder. I had a boy devil, a girl devil. When I got with my son's father, that's really when everything changed. My whole life changed. Larry was actually 6 months younger than my dad.
Dang, I know.
And
You
I
really
just
got some
remember
luck
my
with
son
cars. I'm
crying,
just
and
saying.
I'm crying.
But I'm glad hopefully nobody
And
got
his
hurt.
brother had some
Welcome back.
Percocets.
Yes, welcome
he's
back.
like,
And
"Here,
dang,
you know, just take one. Like, it'll help you with your ears." It was something I never
Yeah,
felt
because as long as
before.
he's here,
It
he won't
was
get in a high-speed
give
chase.
me energy. Like I was super mom. I could take care of my kid. Larry had tried heroin before. He told me it was the exact same thing, a little stronger, but it was half the price. So I thought, why not? My addiction got so bad to where one day we didn't have money. And Larry knew of the guys around the corner. It was
no
a
high
tire
speeds.
shop. Mexican guys. He made a deal with one of the guys. Go upstairs, take care of one of the workers, give us money. So I did it. Larry and I got in a fight. He would hit me if I was sick and couldn't perform. Get a knock on the door. Child services at my door. They're coming to take my baby. So I had to sit there and watch these people come in and take my baby away from me. We just separate. I was staying in abandoned houses. I met this guy. He kind of sold me a dream. And then it just switched. I would have to beg for tampons. I would have to beg for a water. I wasn't even a person. I met a couple.
Think about how degrading
and I
that
did
is,
dates
having
with
to beg
the
for
wife.
tampons.
I ended
And
up
that is something that
getting
happens
an
all the
infection
time.
in my leg. And at this point, I couldn't even move my leg. I couldn't even go to the bathroom. But yeah, I was still performing dates. He was still setting up these dates. He would just kind of cover up my leg. Deep down, I'm screaming, I'm crying, I'm dead. I'm nothing inside. I am dark. There is no colors in my world. So my father comes to my house. Never been there before. Didn't even know where I lived. Had no clue. My brother tells him where I lived. So he comes over, doesn't even knock, just walks right in. And I mean, I've seen him get teary-eyed, but I've never seen him cry. And he's like, "Jen, you're going to the
Yes,
hospital."
Kim, that is a real thing, unfortunately.
Puddles.
People do
of
anything to
infection.
control you.
Or just
Some people will.
running, dripping down my leg. Emergency surgery. The infection was just on the right leg, but they had to do surgery on my left leg too, where it was just spreading. I feel like I'm taking my body back. My drug's not controlling my body, I'm controlling my body. So when you graduate Catch, you become a butterfly.
That's so beautiful.
So that kind of represents Catch, you know, the fact that I graduated. I found love. So that's
Look at that smile.
definitely something I never thought would happen. We were friends first. He accepted my story. There is good men out there. You can find love after trauma and after everything.
This is Melissa's sober living home. It's part of her final stage of recovery with Catch Court.
I came in February.
How long do you guys normally stay here for?
There's no deadline.
Okay.
As long as you're active and trying to like build your life up and continue to, you know, accomplish your goals. And I mean, this isn't where you want to be forever, but this is like the step before you get your own house. I mean, there's so many women that, I mean, don't know how to pay bills, don't know what it is to get a money order, don't know what it is to wake themselves up on their own. Like, it sounds crazy, but that's something I struggle with.
Yeah.
Just waking up, having that self-control to get up. There's 4 of us that live here. We split.
I didn't wake up till 3 o'clock today. I'm still struggling with it.
A little bit of structure, but really, you're fully responsible for yourself.
But you were also online until 5 or 6 this
Molly,
morning.
did you shut these off?
Well, yeah, I don't sleep at night because for years,
sure?
you know, I didn't
Blow
because
dry
that's
your
when I
hair?
worked. So it's still hard to this day, and that's the struggles. You know, that's one of them.
They're both was shut off.
Whether I was on the line or
Ouch.
not, I
Never
wouldn't
mind, they're
go to
already
bed.
out again.
Melissa has become a devout Christian like her housemates,
Okay, it's 9:38.
and they're all getting ready to attend church together.
My church family is like a main part of my foundation. You know, I'm connected through them, not just on Sunday. It is so hot out here. I'm just grateful to be able to know what it's like to pay a bill, to know what it's like to get a paycheck, even though sometimes it's like, dang, man, like I worked all week and that's it. But then instead of that's it, like, you know, like,
That's a
I'm
hard thing to learn
responsible,
too.
strong, independent woman today, and a productive member of society, which I never thought that I could be. I'll be driving in my car and I'll just start crying. I'm like, thank you, God. I can say today I know what it's like to have a good man, to be treated right. We're spiritually connected. With or without anybody, I still love me.
That's right.
Some days
Our
are
words,
emotional. You
baby.
know, these feelings still come up, even things that
You're
work
worth
through,
it.
They still come up. But God has placed all the people in my life that when I can't lift myself up, I have so many people around me. I have a foundation, a firm foundation, and that's what it takes. That's what you need to be able to continue to succeed in life.
Yep. So proud of her.
For anyone who's gone through Catch Court, tonight is a celebration of their strength and resilience. 900 are attending
galas
from
are always
Columbus
fun.
alone. These survivors have conquered the darkest of odds, and it's hard not to feel the optimism and hope now shaping their future.
Hi, friend. How are you? I haven't seen you forever. I love your face.
Slowly, old definitions of sex trafficking are crumbling under high-profile cases. There's still a long way to go in prevention and convictions, but in recognizing and treating survivors, there's movement in the right direction, and Ohio is paving the way.
I am proud of my home state.
Yeah, they're doing it good.
And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna stop it for each one of them.
Yeah,
And
so
let
it
the
says Jen reconnected with her son and spends times with him each week, working full-time in an ice cream warehouse. She hopes to study to work in the legal system.
There's one.
Beautiful smile. Look at this smile. Freedom, baby. Melissa graduated Catch Court a year early due to her incredible progress. That's what I'm talking about, Melissa. You get it, girl. She recently married and moved out of her sober home to live with her husband they remain active members of their church. Round of applause, baby. Round of applause.
Now, the last one, we know who this one's going to be. So this one might be a little hard for Summer, but
I got this. Holly secured a university scholarship, succeeding with top marks. She's became a legal advocate for domestic violence victims at the prosecutor's office and is now considering a law degree. I mean, I'm just saying. Let's go, girl.
think about this. These women have overcome, and we're
gonna put this link. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
This is why I love being able to help Summer with stuff like this, because I stay quiet for the most part, but this right here means that stuff is getting done.
That's right. Change is happening, baby. And Courtney, in just a minute, I'll have AC drop the link to this documentary too for anybody that wants to, watch it. Go ahead. You can go. There you go. You can end it. Love these strong women. Yes, Tim. That is what it's all about, and what I love about this documentary specifically, it covered a lot of different things. You know what I mean? It covered a lot of real shit. You know what I mean? And to see, dude, to sit there and see the court system in Ohio, and to see these women overcome. And I mean, like, I get it. I know everybody's been through things, and I know some of us have been through some shit and it's so hard, but like, when she said, like, you have to pull yourself up out of hell and love yourself all over again, that's a hard thing, you know what I mean, to do. And it's something that I am in the right back dag in the middle, because it's kind of, my story's nuts, because like most people, well, actually, most of my survivor sisters, like a couple of us, you talked to tonight, or you've seen tonight, and other people that have came on, my sister Jamie, dude, sisters of the street, she does fucking amazing work. She's been on here before. I have a sister in Canada that does fucking amazing work, you know what I mean? Like, and we're real, and we're raw, and we're still a hot fucking mess, and but we keep ourselves real, and we keep ourselves that way, like, dude, that way, so like other survivors can know, like, they can do anything they want to do, you know what I mean? And so, like, when people are like, oh, judgmental even on survivor leaders, like, I have the tattoos, and I can't speak for everybody, but like, it was a part of me loving myself again. Most of my tattoos I've gotten since I've been out, because I mean, I had tattoos but they started getting covered up, and I have, each one of my tattoos have a meaning, and it's just my journey of making myself beautiful again through all the fucking trauma. And it's expressions, and it's just different things that you do, because I used to be a cutter, and so a lot of people, we get that same sensation when we're having tattoos, and it's healing. Therapy Inc. is real, honey. Like,
Therapy Inc.
Oh yeah, really, it's a thing. Like, there, tattoo therapy is a very real thing. There's a lot of people that get tattoo therapy because it's releasing endorphins and things that trauma can hold in. And so, I know some people are like, that's crazy, but that's, I would love to get a tattoo right now. That would be everything for me. But yeah, so tats are amazing. Tats are so many different ways, and they, we're given a canvas, and my canvas has so many different stories to tell, and so that's why I love tats. But yeah, dude, this documentary was great because it shows people, like, even outreach, dude. Like, she showed you guys. It's now you need to be trained, because you need to an extent, and that's another reason why I talk about certain things. Make sure you understand some language. You don't have to understand every single thing. I am very aware that even though at once upon a time in my life, I used to think that like everybody has gone through this kind of stuff because, well, you know, that was my reality on some shit. I thought everybody got beat up by their mom. I thought everybody been molested. I thought everybody gets raped more than once. You know what I mean? So, and I realized that that's not actually how things go. And so I don't know. I commend every single person. You know, when you're doing the outreach, get around people that have done, even if it's just homeless outreach, know your language. Don't force religion. You know, talk to your politicians, talk to your fucking AG, and tell them that we have a system that is actually working. I know it's a shock for most of us, but it's clearly working, you know, and pour into your grassroots organizations in your communities, because I can promise you there's a lot. There are a lot of organizations, and you can always check. Like, I mean, shit, y'all know me, and so if there's a program that ain't good, trust me, in our community, we're gonna know about it, right? And so I'll be like, yeah, you can email me and be like, hey, what do you think about this place? But check in for yourself. Forget what I say, right? Find a place, check into them, you know, see what they do, see what they're about, pour into them, get involved. You know what I mean? Like. And some places may have you do a background check. If people come and try to work or try to volunteer, and yes, I know it's kind of crazy for volunteers, but oh yeah, you get a background check because we got to make sure that we don't have predators.
I think with the link for that one place in Ohio, I honestly think I think I read on there that the volunteers get background checks.
Oh yeah, well, and a lot of when you work with children or you work with a population of people that have really been through a lot of things, you know what I mean? Like, I'll give you another example of this. So, and I had to learn my lesson. I always learn my lessons the hard way. So I do a Christmas party, right? Like I put out in the city, I'm like, hey, anybody wants to adopt a survivor and her children for Christmas, and it's a big thing. Like, it's beautiful. We have Christmas gifts all the way out into the friggin' kitchen almost. It's out into the dining room. And so it's amazing. And all of our alumni and the women that have been through our program, they'll come, and on Christmas Eve, because it's about recreating memories, right? Well, I have a Christmas party and I form all the volunteers. I'm like, listen, when the women get here and everything, like, we're not going to be asking about personal stories, we're not going to be doing any of that shit. And I said, we're going to enjoy, we're going to make memories, we're going to play games, we're going to have fun. And everybody's like, yay, we make cookies and we're going to do this. And I'm like, okay. So at one point, and I pay attention to everything, and women like me and people like me, we watch everything. So I'm sitting there and I'm talking to some people and I'm looking at like 5 other things, and I happen to go over like this, and one of the women that were in my program, she's like, like this, and this lady is just basically drilling her on all kinds of shit, and so I went over and I was like, party's fucking over, let's wrap it up and get out. You know what I mean? Because I said, don't do that. And because she did not listen and no one stopped her, I held everybody responsible for that. Right or wrong, it doesn't matter to me. My job is to protect victims, and I always will. And I specifically asked them, let them rejoin memories. You know what I mean? So yes, so there are people that, and I'll have a whole process now when people want to volunteer, because I've learned enough. And even, and I tell people even up front, like, yes, there's people of faith that pour into my organization, but if they expect me to only have Christians there, well, you got life fucked up, because that ain't gonna happen. We open our door up to everybody, so you make boundaries, you do background checks, and expect that if you're going to volunteer at places. And actually that's a good sign, because unless it's a new organization like mine, I didn't at first know what I was doing. You know what I mean? And certain things I won't do a background, but if you're going to be involved in the shelter aspect, oh yeah, I need to get in your business, and I need you to go through a training, and I need you to understand. And those are the kind of things you look for when you as a person go and volunteer somewhere. So yeah, this documentary was good. It had us talk about a lot of shit.
It was good. And Unknown Challenger, I will be waiting for that announcement, because you've been with me almost since the beginning of my channel. So all I'm gonna say is I'll be watching.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear what the announcement is, and and listen. Also understand, like, yes, I am passionate, and I get kind of about things, but I think everything that was said tonight on this live, I think everything that was shown in that documentary. And did you drop the link to the documentary in the comments?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay, so
It's
you
already
have
been. It's been
right.
done.
So you have the documentary. You can pass it around and show it to people. Talk about it. Sit down with your fucking kids. There's nothing in this documentary that was inappropriate. So you can sit down with anybody over the age of 10, 11 years old. And I'm not bullshitting you, because trust me, I went to third graders and they know about trafficking. They know that the pimp carries a gun and the girl sells herself. That's what I was told by third, fourth graders. I ain't gonna lie, I had to
Now
pick my soul
that is
up.
a little. That's a
No, well, so
That's a
I'm
little
listen,
shocking to me.
shit. No, it's not. You would be surprised what these kids are watching everything. They're on the
Very
internet.
true.
Unfortunately, statistics show even third and fourth graders have watched porn because they have phones given to them without parental shit on it, right? So again, as a community, it always comes back to that, don't it? We have to do better. But yeah, so like it was like 3 years I was, 4 years I was in the community. I'm doing shit, I'm making a little name. I'm making a little difference or whatever. I don't really like saying that, but I mean I was. And the school was like, hey, we're having career day. We would love for you to come. And I was like, wait, why am I coming to third graders, fourth graders and talk about, trafficking? You know what I do, right? And they're like, yeah, we need you to come because, there have been teachers, because I have trained, they have been to some of my conferences. They have been to some of the things we hold in town. They're like, we've heard conversations of where these kids kind of know about some certain things, and so we just want to make sure we educate them and let them know, if people say or do, whatever you can do to help them protect themselves. And I went in there and I was trying to like figure out, and it took me, so I focused on just help the shelter, right? And then, but I said human trafficking, and this little boy was, and a couple of the kids actually, not just a little boy, a couple of girls too. They're like, oh yeah, we know what trafficking is. That's where they have that pimp at, and they carry a gun. And the girl, yeah, she like sells her body. I was like, so then the next group of kids came in. I asked the teacher to give me a few seconds because I literally had to pick my soul up. But I also know because I've sat with victims that were that age, so these kids are knowing and they're talking to their friends. They're watching on the internet. So, even if you want to go 14 years old or 13 years old, you know what I mean? Like, this is important and it's not too much. I know some people are like, I don't know, this is too much. No, the fuck, it's not. No, it's not. Because trust me, they may even know someone that's being trafficked. My kids know, there was a girl that I helped them with or whatever. The little girl was in domestic violence. Like, this shit is happening. These kids are dating. They have boyfriends. They hear their friends talking about all kinds of shit. So yeah, I would show your kids. I would show your neighbors. I would show everybody. Get the conversation going. Don't, and there's appropriate conversations even about trafficking stuff that you can talk to about little kids. You just have to figure out the verbiage and the language. And you can do that. There's plenty of internet stuff out there that you can look at. I'm going to start forming a fundraiser company for campaigns for people in our community who want to poise themselves to get into local. That is what's up, Unknown. That's awesome. That's awesome. I think being able to help people, because whether we like the system or not, it's not going to go away anywhere. And so, maybe helping people that want to get in it that might do something good. I don't know.
I just love that I found you. I love, because on my community tab today, so I think I know how Refuse to Lose got your link is because I think and I don't see her a whole lot in my chat. I think she's subscribed to the Angry Conservative channel. And she's seen that I put that on my community tab because I wanted people to listen to this. I wanted people to know that it's going on no matter where you live. If you live in New York City or if you live like where I live out in the middle of BFE, it's happening everywhere. So I love that. I got to spend some time with you. And
yeah, this has been a great show. I think we both can say we're gonna wrap it up because it's been 3 hours and it's been kind of emotional. But
Yep.
AC, I want to thank you because anytime I say, hey, AC, can you help me out? And that's another thing. People can help survivors out. Like, you know what I mean? With stuff. It's a thing. We need help. We need help with all kinds of sorts of shit. You an accountant? Hit me up. But you know what I mean? Like, so yeah, it's a powerful show. Thank you for always coming. Thank you for always, you know what I mean, making space to understand and get the information out and just helping me make this more even better than it would be without you. So I'm glad you can make things better.
Love you, sis. And everyone in chat, please share this out with friends and
Yeah,
family.
share this video.
This is very important. This is a very important situation that we were talking about because we need people to know there are things, little things, that all of us, even me, with no freaking money, not very much money, can do to help people like the survivors of all of this, because it doesn't take money to be a good person. Just saying. Love you, Summer. Love you. Great job to the chat, and I will see you on the next one.
Holler, holler. AC's awesome. Well, thank you guys for hanging out with us tonight. Thank you guys for listening, and for the people that went for the long haul, and for everyone that will watch this later. Like, share this video, share it on all your platforms. Text message to people, email it to people, whatever you got to do. I really do believe this was a very, very, very educational program. It talks about a lot of things, and it shows where people are doing things the right way, right? Because we know that there's like corruption and fucked up shit and everything. But it's good to see things being done the right way, seeing a courtroom being done the right way, seeing outreach being done the right way, seeing homes being done the right way. This is a very, 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 very important topic. We talk about it all the time because, you know, we are solution people over here. And so I think this is full of solutions and definitely conversations that we need to have. So show your kids all of that. And we will be back because, you know, this is something we talk about all the time. Make sure you please hit those thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe. Ring-a-ding-a-ding-a-ding-a-ding that bell, baby. So you know when the Hot Mess crew is coming around. Thank you. Thank you. I enjoyed it, and we'll be back. Thank you very much. Of course. Great information. What's up, gorgeous? How are you doing? And AC, as always, thank you for helping. Now I am going to go do some self-care because, man, this has been an emotional night. I'm going to go take me a bubble bath, and I'm going to go cuddle up with my big old teddy bear. Y'all be blessed. Have a great night. And be a part of the solution, not the problem.